You are listening to the Interview Podcast,
where we interview the real you.
We discover our guests' passions, skills, dreams, and wisdom they've learned along the way.
Get ready for some friendly banter,
Controversial hot takes.
Christian pickup lines, and riveting conversations.
Let's dive in.
Hello, everybody. Wow, I started that a little too early, but hopefully people will still be able to hear my hearty hello. But there it is. Welcome to episode 41 of the interview. Yes, 41 of the Interview Podcast. Whew, guys, we were here.
Welcome back to you, Jen.
We are back.
You were out for a little bit, and you're back.
Yes.
Praise God.
If you guys heard the episode from Derek, the Christmas one, that was what? Our shortest episode ever?
Very shortest to date. Right.
Derek did a good job, but he mentioned there that I was moving to Maryland, which I'm already left there. So I was in Maryland, moved again.
Short stint, short move.
It was a month in Maryland, and now I'm living in Florida for
More of a
maybe
detour.
5 to 6 months. Yeah, detour.
Right.
So that's where I am, but I had to come back for a few things to wrap up in North Carolina. And so, of course, we had to make it a priority to record a podcast for you guys because we're already slacking, and we apologize to our listeners that are like, where's the
thousands
episode?
of fans. They're just thralling us.
They're really not, but I did have someone come up to me in Florida over Christmas and said, I'm really sad that they thought the podcast was ending, and they were like, is the podcast over? And I was like, no, we're just...
And she starts breaking down crying.
Yeah.
And you're like, no.
She was like, this is what I live for. No, she said
We're
that
like,
when she clean or something, her cleaning jobs or whatever, she always likes to listen to our episodes. And she was just like, there's just no new ones. And so she's having to re-listen to old ones. So anyway, so this is for you, this episode. So
You know
it's
who
for
you
you,
are.
and
You know who you are.
also to all of everyone else out there.
Yes.
But we are excited to come back and do this episode with some awesome guests that we're going to get into. But I'm going to throw it to Derek. For our episode sponsor of this episode.
We're here again, another sponsor. The huge thank you to Leila Kate Yoder, good friend of ours here from FCC, a local. Always love the local support. So thank you, Leila, for sponsoring this episode. You're a great friend. Appreciate you. You're a friend to the pod, friend to us, friend to our guests, you know? Yeah. So it's just a...
Yeah, they didn't even know. Their faces lit up when they saw who was sponsored. Like, what?
Right. Yep. So huge shout out to Leila. Thank you so much for sponsoring this episode. And our Patreon supporters that just keep trucking on a month-to-month basis, thank you very much. Really, really appreciate that. You guys are fantastic. Keeps the heat on, keeps the
lights on.
The lights on, you know?
Keeps the momentum up.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is really cool of you guys just to keep supporting because it's a little more of a, I don't want to call it a dry spell for the podcast, but it's more sparse right now with episodes because of me being gone. And obviously we're excited to see Derek's solo episodes.
Well, we hope.
Phantom solo episodes that are coming, but we're excited to see that while I'm in Florida. And maybe I'll do an episode in Florida. I don't know, record something and send it in.
Send it in. Do it,
But
Jen.
for you guys to keep supporting even while we're not recording as regularly is really cool.
Yeah.
And huge thanks to Leila. Such a sweet girl in our youth group. Our guests know her very well. She's a big part of the community. And wow, I didn't know she was sponsoring until today. And I was like, what?
I know.
She's a good friend of mine, super sweet, kind, and just really giving. And so really cool that she's sponsoring. So
appreciate you so much. Anyway, now to the main event.
Yes.
The main attraction, what we're all here for. Our guests for today are Dave and Lori Krahn. Welcome, guys.
Woo!
Say a little something.
Thanks.
Say hello.
Hey, hello. Thanks for having us.
It is such an honor to have you guys here. Is this our first international guest, Jen?
Well, other than their son.
All right, clearly.
Devin.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Devin, their son
Yeah.
that was just on not long ago. But we're really branching out. We're going international, Jen.
Yeah, we
so
are.
this is great.
And we loved Devin so much. We had such good feedback from his episode. We were like, we got to have more Krahns
More
on.
Krahn.
More Krahns. More
Krahn.
Canadians.
So the pressure's on.
Yeah, he set a
But
pretty high standard
just
for you
relax.
guys,
He did.
but
It's
you
fine.
did fine. So
Yes.
it was really cool. We thought about maybe breaking it up and not having the parents on right after the son, but we're like, why not?
Why not? Why stop a good thing?
Yeah.
Why stop the momentum?
So we're really honored that you guys are on, and I know it was didn't give you a lot of notice, and you guys have a lot going on in your lives right now, and this takes time, and we recognize that that's like the highest commodity in life right now is our time.
Yeah.
You can't get more of it back. So you guys being here and taking time to come, we don't take lightly, and we know it's taking time out of your schedule, and it means a lot to us. So thank you for doing that. We're excited to see where this episode goes, hear a little bit about your journey and your story. But before we do that,
got a little test for you.
yeah. And it's a marriage test. So we really hope after this your marriage is tighter
This is a
and
home run for you
closer
guys.
and
You got
more
it.
connected, not less. So we really hope you don't go home and need marriage counseling.
And if we do, we know a guy.
We
So
know
a guy.
If you do come back, we'll counsel you.
All right, perfect.
Yeah, me and Jen will.
Yeah, we know all about
Because we
marriage.
know
Great,
so much about
great.
marriage.
From our
It's
31
insane.
years of single life, we'd give you all we got.
Honestly, we have a very unbiased perspective of marriage. You know
We're
what I
like,
mean?
just work it out. It's fine.
It's easy.
How hard can it be?
Talk it out.
We'll say, trust me, from some people that have been single make it work.
That's,
Don't give up, okay?
Don't
You'll be
give
back in
up.
our
Trust
boat.
us.
You don't want that, okay?
Jen, don't get back in our boat. Oh,
It's a
good
pretty
heavens.
pretty singular, lonely boat over here,
Oh,
so
my.
that sounds sad. I'm really not too sad, but it is kind of sad.
Just a little sad. Jen.
It's kind of a bummer, but work it out, everybody. Work
but
it
we're
out.
fine. We're
Yeah, we are.
fine. Oh, that's funny.
But we do something usually called rapid fire questions. You guys probably heard that if you listened to any episodes. But we're gonna do a little bit different since you guys are a married couple. We're gonna just play a little game called How Well Do You Know Your Spouse?
All right.
So no pressure, but pressure. Okay. So I'm gonna ask you a question, Lori, about Dave, and you're gonna see if you can answer what he would say, and then he'll tell you if you're correct or not.
So how
we'll
do
see.
I know he's not lying, though? What if he,
I mean,
Depends if I want to make it look good or not.
It's
This
getting
is
a little
the
dicey
honor
up in here.
system.
Come on, guys.
This
It's
is
a Christian podcast.
oh, right.
No lying.
totally the honor
Christian
system,
podcast.
and we're
I know
gonna
you-
see how
Lori.
it goes. So, does that make sense?
It does.
Okay, and you just do your best. And honestly, maybe you'll learn something about your spouse you didn't even know,
Correct.
which is a win either way.
It's a win-win.
Yep.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
So, Lori, what would Dave's ideal date night be?
Oh, food.
Just eating.
Just eating.
Like eat in, out, doesn't matter, out.
Out.
So
You gotta-
eating out.
He loves to experiment with
Ooh.
and try new things. It'd have to be something different, unique.
Okay, sweet. Dave, would you say that's true?
Definitely.
Ding,
Yeah,
ding, ding,
let's
ding.
go.
We got a
She
winner.
didn't even hesitate.
No,
so
that was
she knows
very
him
good.
very well.
That was very well done.
And then, Dave, what would Lori's ideal date night look
Oh
like?
boy, that one's a little harder.
Oh, okay.
This is good, Lori. Maybe he'll learn it so he can take you out next time.
It would have to begin with like flowers.
Okay.
I'm thinking,
Okay.
and then
So we're-
going out for dinner
Oh.
and just having a quiet evening together.
Sound pretty good, Lori?
That's
that pretty good, Lori?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it would start
That's
with a little touch of
just
something like that. You,
something,
Little gesture,
Yeah,
little gesture.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then I'm simple.
Okay.
I'm a basic girl. I don't need
just
anything fancy.
quality
Just
time would be
quality
fine.
time.
Quality time.
well, that's what's
Quality
nice is if you
time.
want quality
Nice.
time and he wants food, just have quality time over food.
I mean, that's a
And-
win-win for both of you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well, I kind of started off with a harder one. Let's go to the really pretty simple one that I think you should know. What is Dave's favorite color?
His favorite color.
Jen, I feel like this actually might be
I
a hard one.
That is hard
honestly-
because I don't even know if
I
that's
was,
like,
like,
how
I was
often
gonna
do you-
say I don't know if he knows if he has a favorite
I
color.
He's like the
He's
rainbow.
Like,
I like
I don't
them all.
know any of them. What color does he wear? A certain color the most?
No, he's
Just kind of
You're
all
pretty
over.
diverse in your colors, Dave.
he is.
Yeah.
I don't
He's basically a model.
Well, just do it,
fashion
right.
model.
I know.
He's basically
right?
a fashion model. Wears everything.
All of it.
Just slays
I think
in
it was
anything.
Andy and Sheila that he guessed her color. He just looked over and saw what shirt she was wearing. He was like,
Victoria's like
teal.
maroon.
and she's like, I think she's like, yeah, that works.
It was like so low on their
Yeah.
like priority list of what they know about each
Yeah.
other.
That is so funny.
Would you agree it's kind of like you don't have a favorite color? That answer's pretty accurate.
yeah, I wouldn't be able to tell you just one color.
Okay. Wow, that's
Okay.
cool.
That's
and then what about Lori's? Does she have a favorite? I feel like I know Lori's
I
favorite
would
color.
say
Oh.
purple.
Oh,
really?
Okay,
Got
pretty
it.
confident.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now
Is
I
that what
would
you were
say
gonna
black.
say? Oh,
You were gonna say
Yeah.
black?
I was almost gonna
'Cause we
say
both
black
talked
too.
about
'cause
how
it
much
fe-
we like to wear black.
That's my wardrobe.
Oh, it's most people's
Not your
wardrobe.
favorite color.
Yeah, it's
Wow,
most
that
people's
was
wardrobe.
that was nice, Dave. You knew,
Well
and
done,
she
well
and you
done.
were correct.
Ding,
So
ding.
I
got
love
two.
that.
2 for 2. 2 for 2.
Okay, speaking of food, what is Dave's favorite restaurant?
Oh, favorite restaurant. That's honestly tough because like I would have to go.
Just because he has a lot of them.
Well, there's two especially. He
Okay.
loves Louis barbecue is like really
Ooh.
high on his list,
Yep.
and then Indian food.
Oh,
We love Indian food.
you like the
Right on
Between the
money?
two, I'm not sure which one would be.
you like the spice? Is that what you like, or you like just the flavor
no,
profile of Indian
The flavor
food?
profile.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Cool.
definitely.
okay, that's cool.
But yeah, that's good answers.
Oh, wow.
Good answer.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Okay,
We're
I
on
love
a
that.
hot, we're on a hot streak.
Dave, does Lori prefer her coffee drinks hot or iced?
Hot.
Okay, I said that shouldn't be too hard because she's currently drinking a hot drink.
Currently drinking a hot drink. Yeah,
I
that's
was like,
thought for a
this is
minute
really
because
hard.
Did you?
lately she's throwing a little bit of a twist in there, and she's gotten a cold drink a couple times. That's why I was kind of
Okay.
like,
So you're like, okay.
And it might depend on time of day because sometimes it's like in the
Or time
evenings
of
or
year.
mornings.
yeah,
Time
Yeah,
of year for
yeah.
sure.
Time of year is big.
That's
Okay.
true. If it's colder outside, you want warm drinks.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's true. Which that was my next question for you. What is Dave's favorite favorite season of year? Winter, spring, summer, fall.
Oh, he loves cold weather. I don't know that it'd be
My man.
winter so much, but probably like fall for sure.
Okay. Right on.
Bam.
yeah.
Let's go. Man, you guys are doing great. Okay. This one might have to think a little bit, and we don't want to get in an argument here, but
Or
Dave, what would Lori say her biggest pet peeve about you is? So she's just like, Dave, if you could stop doing that, that would be really nice to see if you know what her pet peeve is about you, and then vice versa.
Wow.
When you're so perfect, it's hard to tell, I guess.
Yeah, right.
Dave's like, I do nothing.
Dave's like,
No,
I just
no, the list is so long. I'm like going through my mind.
Like,
I'm
which one is at the top?
And if you can't think of one off the top of your head, that's totally fine.
Right.
Honestly, I can't read off the top of my head.
She might
I
not-
know
she
there's
probably knows.
there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Probably,
Okay,
but
okay.
I specifically I don't really know.
Do you
I
know?
honestly can't say. There's nothing that stands out that I could like literally. Even if it was just the two of us sitting
Yeah.
there and you asked me what's
That
your
there'd
biggest
be a
pet
big
peeve,
thing. You're like, hey,
there's
change this.
nothing that
Wow.
I could really like.
I know. I'm over here like, that's the marriage for
yeah.
me. That sounds amazing.
You guys been married how long?
25 years.
See, look at that, Jen.
Wow.
25 years. Look what we have to look forward to. Just a perfect marriage.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Can't wait.
Beautiful.
If I'm married for 25 years, I'll be like 80.
Jen, you're not that old. You're
I
not
know.
that old.
This is terrible. I'm really setting myself up well on the
Oh, boy.
podcast. Okay, well, that's really good. If you guys get along really well and just kind of, I think there's some people don't have pet peeves because they just genuinely don't, and other people have learned how to just let things slide. Like they just don't let it bother them.
That's how we would be.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Whereas it maybe did at first, or maybe there's things that could annoy you,
Mhm.
but then you just learn that it's not that important to get worked up over, so just let it go.
Yeah,
And-
absolutely.
And then it's not really a pet peeve anymore. And that's what is, I think, valuable, what I would like to learn just in relationships in general. I have a lot of pet peeves about a lot of people.
Jen, I was gonna ask you, is there some just in general that you're like are pet peeved about, Jen?
She kind of looked at
Yeah,
you.
I know, she kind of looked at her like, yeah, there's a bunch of them just in general.
No, I was
Derek,
just trying to talk to, look around the
the
room.
general area in my over at me.
No, not
No, I know,
that.
Jen, I
But
know,
anyway,
I know.
okay, let's do two more yet, guys. You guys are kind of crushing it. What is your spouse? Okay, Lori, I don't have to say the word spouse. I'm really reading this.
Yeah.
What is her favorite hobby or pastime? She could just choose. She has a free day and she just gets to do what she wants. What would she do?
Probably hang out with a friend and do a little bit of browsing in stores. She's not necessarily a shopper. She likes to just browse.
Okay.
I mean, that's pretty good, honestly.
She's like, kind of want to do that right now.
But, do you want to go?
Can we go?
After this, after
like,
this,
let's go
yeah,
grab-
let's
tonight?
go.
Let's go
Yeah.
hang out and browse
Yeah.
stores.
go
Yeah.
browse.
Let's just do it.
Okay.
Little
Okay.
Cato.
Yeah.
Little Cato browse. Little browse Cato.
That's before I barely knew Lori. We met in Cato's one time.
Yep, we
It's,
did.
Really?
it's a women's clothing store.
Yep.
Oh,
And
no wonder I never heard of it. Or
we were both
been there.
shopping. That's good. I'm
Yeah.
glad you weren't there. 'Cause
It would have been weird if you were there.
Oh yeah, Cato.
I really-
Love that place.
I'm like, who are you buying
Who
for?
are you?
Okay. What Lori, would you say Dave's number one love language is? There's more, I think more than 5, but the 5 love languages kind of that are talked about.
Oh man.
Do you know what his love language is?
I know we did this test once, but this was a few years ago,
It's like
and I
physical
can't.
touch, quality time, words of affirmation, acts of service, and gifts.
Definitely not gifts.
Hmm.
That's
Could care
so
less
not.
about that.
No,
Yeah.
no. I would probably say quality time. I think
Okay, be up there.
it's definitely up there.
He's nodding his head. Seems like we're on the right track.
Think Dave?
Yeah.
That'd be right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And Dave, what would Lori's be? Sorry, Derek. Keep
You're
hitting
good.
his knee. It's weird.
Jen, stop trying to make a
Not-
move
I'm
on
not
me.
trying to do that right now.
Are you sure, Jen?
That's my pet peeve. He keeps touching me.
People touching me is my pet.
I'm like, but I'm the one doing it. So
No,
that's
I
on
was
me.
sorry. I was kind of nestled over there.
Okay, well, I hate that word.
Well,
okay.
Nestled.
We're nestle.
Nestled.
Nestled.
Now I'm gonna say physical touch.
They were Lori's, not Derek and Jen's. We got to keep that in the
No,
clear.
but
Yeah.
it probably would be.
Yeah.
Like she likes to hold hands and whatever.
Yeah.
Snuggle,
Yeah.
arm
Yeah.
around her,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Totally not his.
Really?
Is
Yeah,
That's
but
interesting.
Not a physical
It's not
touch
a it's
guy.
not a pet peeve of mine of that she does, but
Right.
it's I can
You're good with
take
it.
it or leave it. I
Yeah.
mean, it doesn't
Okay.
really.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it.
He's like, yeah, I'll do it, whatever.
Yeah, like I'll hold
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
okay,
it's like,
fine.
But I think
Yeah,
I've been listening
no,
to
that's
a
cool.
podcast that talks a lot about. It's like a call-in podcast with like a psychologist, counselor guy who's really really good. And there's a lot of marriage question people that call in, and I've heard different people talk about the love language and stuff. And there's something really special about someone loving you in your love language when it's it doesn't really do anything for them, but they know it means a lot to you, and so when they do it, it's like, oh wow, this is so special. And then something about you being able to love them, knowing that's what means something to them, it helps you as well. Like you might not be like, oh yeah, I'm getting a lot out of it, but you are because your partner is.
She sounds like she's been married.
Well,
Jen, have you been married, Jen? Now that we're talking about this,
I didn't move away for just that.
I was gonna say,
I wonder why you moved away.
It's the reason
I
I
know.
move every 3 years.
That's a lot of wisdom.
Just to switch communities.
I'm running from my ex. No,
Oh,
I'm not. Why is this
good.
getting so off the rails?
Oh,
No.
Sorry.
man. No, it's good.
Anyway, no,
Some
I
good
haven't,
marriage
but-
advice, though.
What's cool about being older, and if I get married one day, I have no excuse. I feel like to not try to do it well because I've learned from so many people before me. I've got to watch marriages and see them in my family, in my friend groups, and then just learning on podcasts and online things that you can just research. I'm like, okay, I don't have any excuses to
That's true.
mess that up, but I probably still will. So anyway, but it's cool. Okay,
Yeah.
well way to go, guys. I honestly think that you kind of crushed that, and it sounds like you guys know each other pretty well. And after you said 25 years, which
25
when
years.
is your anniversary? That was one of my questions. Do you know when your anniversary is, Dave?
June.
Now it's gonna-
You
You
now
want
it's
more
gonna
He's
say-
like,
I mean,
More
a date
specific
would be
he's like,
nice.
do we need the date and year? No, that's
Is
not
it-
important.
Okay, Devin's birthday is close at the same time, so I do mess him up. So I'm gonna say June 6th.
No, it's a no.
It's a no.
Is that Devin's birthday?
No, it's not even
What?
Devin's
That's not even,
birthday.
okay. Dave, when's your son's birthday? Can I get that?
Oh shit!
thought it was-
now you got me.
He
Yeah.
said one of them is June 6th. So far, he's 0 for
He's
0.
zero for
Yeah,
zero.
that's
Zero for
bad.
zero.
That's
This,
bad.
You know
this
what?
is it. This is very.
All right.
This is the norm. He can't.
All right.
Dates are tough.
So what is it?
I'm not.
Oh, she doesn't know either.
I do know.
Lori.
I see what he did. Did you see what he was
yeah,
doing
I
there?
did.
though?
I did. So
He was
clearly
like, well,
Dave
you
is a
prove
no.
it.
After 25 years, I know what he's doing.
I
Yeah.
understand. I understand.
You know him too well.
So the date is when, Lori?
June 5th.
Okay.
Oh, so it's
one
one
day.
day.
I mean,
off.
one
One
day.
day.
I mean,
Like-
here's the thing.
like-
One day.
And if the wedding lasted till midnight, it was basically
Here's the thing. It's
6th.
basically June 5th.
But
and
it's
6th.
probably
Pretty
didn't.
much. I
Pretty
mean,
That's
much.
yeah.
Hey, I'll give you that. 25 years.
You're
that's
gonna
fine.
give him a
5th
pass on it.
of-
Yeah.
Wait, June 5th of 1999.
You got it.
Wow.
Let's go, because this is 2025.
Very nice. Very nice.
Hey, that was
It's
smart.
a long time ago.
That's quick
Wow.
math.
I mean,
Well done, Jen. Wow.
what can I say?
What can I say?
I guessed.
Wifey material over here. Quick on math.
I kind of guessed. I kind of
That's
guessed.
amazing.
But yeah.
That's amazing.
Okay. Well,
good.
thank you guys for doing that and for staying married for 25 years.
Yeah.
Let's be real. Like,
Yeah.
that's one thing I've learned from listening to all these people that are calling in with their problems. Everyone has problems. People that have been married for 25 years, I've gone through a lot, I'm sure, which we'll hear about as we go in the podcast, I'm sure. But it's like when people choose to stay together anyway, and they're like, leaving isn't really an option. We're gonna work through this.
Mhm.
Like it's not me versus you. It's us versus the problem every time. And it's like to do that and live and fight for marriage is just so cool. And you guys have 2 grandbabies. As of this year, or as of last year, 2024,
year.
you guys became grandparents.
That's
That's
awesome.
right.
And
That's
one boy and
awesome.
one girl.
Yeah.
And you guys are so young. You're in your 40s and you guys are grandparents. So insane. So
Yeah.
goals. Won't happen for me, but I'm trying to have kids in my 40s. Grandkids, that'd be something
Grandkids
else.
is a little later.
I like adopted 20-year-olds. I can have some
So you can
grandkids.
have young grandkids.
But anyway, congratulations on that. That's exciting. So
thank you.
I'm
Right.
excited for you guys.
Awesome, guys. Well, yeah, kind of going along this theme of marriage and journey and testimony, we'd love for you guys just to share your story, how you guys, first off, like basically how you guys met, and then your journey from there, what life looked like, how you got saved, and then ultimately, like, what led you here, and just like, yeah, tell us all what God did and kind of that journey, kind of starting about how you guys met, and then kind of go on from there.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
You want to start?
You go ahead.
Well, I grew up in a Christian home,
Okay.
and so did she, and we went to the same youth group,
Okay.
and that's where we met.
Ah.
And from there, I mean, we got married in 1999, June 5th.
Let's go. He's like, I know it now.
June 5th, by the
Were
way.
you guys the only dated each other? You never dated anybody else?
Yeah.
Wow,
I
one
never
and
did-
done.
No, yeah, I never
That's
did.
you
awesome.
knew. And
Yeah.
how old were you when you got married?
19. I was 19.
19.
Oh wow.
You were
I was
21?
just about. Shoot.
So I
Almost
would have
20?
been. I would have been turning 20 in August.
And I would
of-
have been turning 21.
That's right.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you guys are closer.
Yeah.
age. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
And how long was this? Like a 15-year-old romance that stretched
like,
out, or
did
was
you
this
like-
like
No,
like
no,
18?
no.
You didn't
You
know
liked
you-
each other and
We-
it moved pretty quick.
Dated for 3 years.
Okay.
So I was
Yeah.
I was 16.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay,
I was 16
so
when we started dating.
Wow.
yeah, it's young.
Young.
It's young.
Yeah,
That
That
is
is
young.
so young. Would you recommend that?
No.
Okay. but it
things
worked
were
for
different
y'all.
back then. That was pretty normal back then. It
It's
really
true.
was.
It was
Yeah.
more normal back
People
then.
were getting married. Like we were not young by any means, getting married at 19 and 20 at that time.
That's
You guys
crazy.
think
It was-
that social media plays a big part in why people get married later? Because there's
I don't know what's changed. Something has definitely changed though. Where
before social media though, you only knew people in your realm of.
in your own
living.
circle?
It's
yeah,
true.
Right.
that's true.
I
That's
heard it
true.
recently said that there's too many now. There's like the world is at our fingertips, so there's just options of like, well, there's too many options. I'm not going to go with someone that's right in front of me because then, what about this girl I saw on Instagram? I could message her. Or what about
Right.
this girl? Or should I go on a dating app? There's almost too much options. No one's willing to choose and make that decision and then settle down.
Wow.
That's what I heard. It could.
Well,
is
and
it
we didn't.
I mean,
what
that
else
could
were you
play a
gonna
huge
do?
part.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right. What else are you gonna do?
You're like, well, about time to get married.
well,
You're here.
we
Let's
didn't
do
have
it.
social media. We had a lot of time on our hands.
Like,
right?
well, you know, hey, I'm kind of bored. You want to get married? Sounds good.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Got to do my chores first, but
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
7 brides for 7 brothers. Watch it. Watch
we'll
it.
do that.
Yeah, you'll need to do that.
That's cool. I think that's awesome. It's the simpler life then, and just like, and then choosing to get married and then starting a life together is so good. So, okay, so
So that was all good, but then
Yeah.
it didn't stay necessarily good. Like life kind of went off rails a little bit.
Okay.
Got caught up in the wrong group of people. Took a bad path, and it wasn't until I was 40 years old that I actually became a Christian.
Okay.
Really?
So there's like a
around
19
that.
year.
I didn't
Yeah, and
gap
I'm not going to
there.
get into all the. There's a lot of like. If I told you my full testimony,
Yeah.
we'd be here for for a
Yeah,
while.
we want to hear some of that.
There's
though,
a lot.
For sure.
There's a lot there, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was a rough time in my life,
Wow.
and I'm just thankful that I'm not there no more.
And you were in Canada this whole time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
okay, so when you guys were in the same youth group and grew up together, but that was in Canada.
Yes.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So that, and that's where you were until
Right until what is it? 5 years
What
ago.
year did we
5
move
years
here?
ago?
till you moved here to North Carolina.
Yes,
You were in
yes.
Canada till then.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So and then where were you at, Lori, in your life when Dave was kind of not walking in with the Lord, and were you a believer during that time?
I mean, I would have said that I would be a believer, but I wasn't living it. So
Okay.
I would say obviously not if I'm
Okay.
not living it. But I mean,
Right.
if somebody asked me if I was a Christian, I would have said, yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Okay.
But definitely not living it.
Yeah.
Like
So, I
during
mean-
that whole time, I would say that I still believed in God.
Okay.
I still believed that Jesus was God's son and
Mm-hmm.
that He came
Okay.
to die on the cross for our sins. I believed all of that. I just decided to go on a different path.
Interesting.
Like I mean,
Yeah.
I was influenced by, and I'm not. I got to be careful how I say it. I'm not trying to point fingers and blame, play the blame game. You know, it's
No, I
all those
understand.
guys' fault. No, I take full responsibility for that. But
Yeah.
during that point in my life, that's just the decision I made. It was a bad decision, and yeah, it led to. I'm trying to think here. The trip where I got saved, we actually came to Tennessee with some friends.
Okay.
And the intent was to party and have a good time. But that
Okay.
was kind of my life, right? Like, That's
Yeah.
what I was known as, really.
Ah.
And it was on that trip that actually I got saved.
That's okay.
sorry.
Hey,
You're good,
sometimes
Why
phones ring.
don't you silence that?
He's popular, guys. Sorry.
Popular guy.
He's a popular dude. His phone's been going nonstop.
Nice.
That's one of the grandbabies
Oh.
calling.
Oh,
That's a pull
shucks.
right there. Stop the
Shucks.
podcast.
Stop the
We're
pod.
done.
Time out. We need to FaceTime with the grandkids. So, okay, well, I guess is there anything else you want to share about like those 19 years or anything? But then just tell us a little bit like how did this miraculous thing happen in Tennessee? Like how did that come about?
Well, I got caught up. I did a lot of drinking, and
Okay.
I got caught up in marijuana and stuff. And it got to the point where I was like very reliant on the marijuana, especially.
Okay.
I was okay with maybe less alcohol, but the marijuana was very.
Up the Mary Jane. Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of them things where I couldn't function in public. Really, that's in my mind. That's what I told myself.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it gets to that point. But anyway, so we went on a trip with some friends. They had asked us to go to Tennessee with them, and
And were
it
they
was-
believers, or was their intent like you guys were like, let's go party?
Yeah,
in
they
So
would-
Tennessee?
yeah,
They would be believers.
Yeah, they're believers. So they're on that trip. Their testimony was part of what hit me, like
Really?
it really hit my heart.
Okay. Wow.
And we had rented a side by side from, I don't remember the place anymore, but we walked in and the guy's got his Bible open, and he had a
At the
paper-
rental place.
Yeah,
the
at the
rental
rental place.
Really?
And I don't know why, but I just kind of was like, what you reading there? And I forget the exact scripture that he said he was reading, but he says, he handed me the pamphlet and he's like, this is actually what I'm interested in. He's like, if you want to take it with you, he says, go ahead. So I did. I took it, put it in my back pocket. I'm like, yeah, I'll just probably throw it out somewhere, whatever.
Yeah.
So we went, had a good time that day. Got back to the cabin. We had rented a cabin, and we were just sitting around on the back porch. It was raining. It was just a nice, beautiful view. And we were just chatting with our friends, and they were telling us their testimony, like, because they had a hard life. They had a child that had passed away, and it was it's a really good story. But something just clicked in my head. It was like, you know what? I got that pamphlet. I had put it in my room, in the room.
Okay.
And I was like, I'll read that later. And I did. And I won't go into the details of all that, but basically I read it and I knew that I needed to change. There was like, it was not going to be okay to stay like that anymore. So I got on my knees and I prayed. And the next morning I was a new man.
Wow.
Yeah,
Just
when
like
I woke
that.
up, it was
incredible.
There was steps that, like, it didn't change like everything overnight, but a lot of the stuff it did.
Literally overnight.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't want to drink anymore.
Yeah. Like desires for sin and those things literally left overnight.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And but interestingly, I did not drop marijuana fully right off the hop.
Okay.
It wasn't.
Wouldn't that at that point would it have been like withdrawal type symptoms and like were you that much in that had you tried to stop cold turkey, it would have been. Like,
yes,
really,
and I did
really
go
difficult?
when I actually did go through withdrawals and stuff. But we went back home, and my life started really changing drastically. It seemed like God was putting things. He was letting me know that I needed to remove certain things from my life, and that's what I started doing one by one. And one night, this is gonna sound crazy, but I literally have my Bible open. I'm gonna do my Bible study at night.
Yeah.
My devotions. And I'm preparing. I had this little vape thing with marijuana, and I'm getting this thing ready.
Yeah.
Like a little
and
Devo
I'm
with
like,
a vape.
It just like I'm watching myself do this. I'm like,
Wait.
it was like I can't say it was an audible voice, but it was as if something spoke to me. It was like, "You're a hypocrite,"
Ooh.
and it hit me hard. I was like, "My word, what am I doing here?" So I grabbed it, threw it in the garbage, and I'm like, "I'm just gonna go to my study now, right?" I start reading my Bible, and it was like a prompting was like, you didn't get rid of it. It's right beside your bed in the garbage there. It's not gone.
It's not gone.
So I got up, packed everything that I had, threw it all into the trash, and we had a dumpster out front. We were cleaning out the shop and stuff like that. I threw it all in there, went back in, and had peace.
Wow.
Like,
Oh,
mean,
word.
peace like I hadn't had for a long time. And that's the last time I ever touched it.
Wow.
Went through some withdrawals and stuff, but never looked back and don't regret it.
Wow.
That's incredible.
It was.
That's incredible.
So that's the shorter version of it.
Okay.
There's a lot of things in there, but yeah.
And you feel like the biggest part of, because there's probably a lot of people that are going to listen or that have been through, where you find Jesus, but the things that have hold on you are really, really strong. And it's really, really difficult. But you feel like when Jesus came into your heart, it just totally changed the desires that you had. Like you didn't want those things anymore, but you had to replace it with the word, with Jesus.
Yes.
Like it wasn't like just get rid of something and then like I'm okay. Like you had to
Refill
fill
it.
that then with something else.
And I did. I actually, for a bit there, I might have. I mean, you can ask Lori about it, but I did become like really super religious a little bit. Like I was trying to fill
You're
that.
probably trying to also find your way. Like what does
I
this
was.
mean
Yeah,
now?
I
to
was.
follow
I
Christ?
honestly was like to become a Christian, truly become a Christian at the age of 40.
Yeah.
It's
You got
it's
a lot
kind of,
to almost undo.
It was
Yeah.
there was a lot that I was trying to work through, and it took a long time. I mean, I think I've come a long way since those days, but
Yeah, I mean, you think of 40 years of ways of thinking, ways
Yeah,
of living,
yeah.
ways of doing.
Habits, yeah.
All of that, like to start now all of a sudden questioning, like, okay, what does it mean to follow Jesus, and what are things that I've done that I can still keep doing that is that should be part of my life? What are things I should change that should be different now that I'm following a different master? That would be like so crazy, like hard, kind of confusing, but also exciting. Of like, okay, what does this life look like now? And so that, like, I just can't imagine, because I grew up, as a Christian when I was like 10, and so it's like you kind of have ways of thinking your whole life. But I think what's cool about finding the Lord later in life is everything. Like you have to ask yourself, okay, what is it like? You didn't just grow up with it, doing it just out of habit. It was like, okay, what does it mean to follow Jesus? What does the Bible say? How do I want my life to look now that I'm following him? How is it different? How does it change? And that's like such a different but incredible journey to be on. Did you find it like what about people around you? Did you have friends that you had to remove yourselves for? Like what was your circle like? Like how did that change?
That's the other part of the testimony where when I made those changes where I completely cut everything off, I knew that I had to like leave those relationships behind as well.
Wow.
I had a few friends that I was pretty confident that if I would have stuck around, they probably would have kept pulling, and I didn't want to risk that.
Wow.
So I knew that we needed to move. We needed to get out of there. And that's kind of what brought us down here.
Okay.
It did not look like what we had planned.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had total different plans, but for some reason,
Generally, yeah.
God had different ideas for us.
Hold
So here we are. I mean, this was never, even when we talked about moving to the U.S., because we had talked about that, moving to the U.S. somewhere, and this was never the place.
North Carolina was not the place.
Interesting.
That was not even on the radar.
So you basically were like, hey, we need to have better people around us, a different
Better
life. I need to
environment.
move out of this toxic environment. Let's go to the States. What was your original plan that you were like, this is where we could go, what we could do?
Honestly, I mean, I don't know that we had like a real plan in place, but Dave and I took a trip together we took a week and just kind of like went to some places that we kind of thought we could see ourselves being at. And we had the discussion before we left that South Carolina was out. We were not, like, that was...
There's an anti-list, and
That
South
was not
Carolina is on
interesting.
it. So God put you just north of there.
Just across
I
the
mean,
line.
we started,
you guys live in-
Initially, we started in South
did.
We
Carolina.
just moved north
That's
in February,
crazy.
Oh, that's true.
but yeah, we
God
started
has a
in
sense of
South.
humor.
But
Yep.
it was, even during that trip, like we did the whole thing. We stopped in South Carolina, visited his family, and then carried on. And during that time, some things happened while we were here, but I think we just didn't talk about it. And I don't know, were we about an hour from home? And I just kind of looked at him and I was like, so what'd you think about South Carolina? And he literally looked at me. It was like relief because he had felt it
Oh.
and I had felt it.
But you were both like,
But
didn't
we
want to
had-
admit
Yeah,
it.
we were like,
Yeah.
I was like,
Both
she
got
doesn't want to go
She
there.
doesn't
and
want to
she's
go.
like,
I
he doesn't
can't
wanna
say
go
it.
there.
Are
Yeah.
you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And so that's,
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
that's where we
And then
ended
you
up.
both were like, maybe we should go to South Carolina.
And some of the things that happened to, like, first thing is you got to find a place, right?
Yeah.
Well, on that trip, before we had even really discussed that this was even a possibility, we met a lady in my sister's store that she was like, I have a place for rent. You can't
Of
make the stuff up.
course, no, you
she,
cannot.
and she's literally,
Yeah.
she's like, would you guys want to come take a look at it?
Like,
And we're like,
and you're in Canada.
sure.
And
That's
she didn't
No,
even
but
know.
we were
That was
this
while we were
is
visiting.
while
down
we were visiting.
Got it.
But you weren't
got it.
planning. You were like not
No.
South Carolina at that point.
So-
Yeah,
Back to
and
exactly.
she offers you a place
That's
to
crazy.
look
And we
at.
did go look
Yeah,
at
we
it
went and
and
looked there. We're like, oh,
everything,
that's
Right.
cool. That's a really
Right.
neat little place, right?
Right.
And we went back home, and then when we had that conversation, we're like, well, maybe we'll reach out and see. And
Okay.
sure enough, she's like, yeah.
And that was the
we
place
would
you
love-
ended up
Crazy.
renting.
Yeah.
Really?
She had it as an Airbnb, but it was interesting because when we met her down here, she goes, I had been toying with the idea of maybe getting a full-time renter in there, but I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
So then when we called, she was like, that was like an answer, because she was a believer as well. And she goes, that was like an answer.
So it
to
was an
prayer.
answer for
She-
her,
yeah,
too.
Yeah, like, so it was like,
Isn't that
there
crazy?
there was things that were happening
Yeah.
that just made it feel like,
Yeah.
this is where we need to be.
Right.
And that's,
Right.
we don't have any regrets. So
That's crazy.
And dude, when God opens
Yeah.
doors like that, you're kind of like, okay, I'm gonna maybe walk through that.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
probably
we've
where he's
learned, we've
leading.
learned to, I've learned to quit saying never.
Ah, that's so good.
Yeah.
This backing up a little bit, Lori, during this whole time, like, were you kind of in the same place Dave was as far as like with any of like the marijuana, the drinking, or were you kind of, because like I know in my mom, in their situation, dad was a little bit worse than, or quite a bit more worse than
Right.
mom was. So I was like, were you the same? Were you kind of even like half praying for him, or
No,
were you more
I
just
was-
like
I
along
mean-
for the ride, kind of? And
I was just following along.
Yeah.
I wasn't into the marijuana like he was. I did smoke marijuana as
Okay.
well, but I wasn't into it like he was. But
Okay.
drinking, I mean, I think.
And his lifestyle didn't bother you. Like you were like, it's
no,
fine.
because I mean,
You both were kind of
if you were both
living
having
that
fun
way.
and-
we're both having fun.
Okay.
Our end goal, I think, at the end of the night, every time we'd go somewhere to socialize, was that one of us was going to be drunk or buzzing or something. I mean, that was just our life.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
That was the goal.
Oh, good heavens.
That
Yeah.
was the goal.
Right. Okay.
I
And
mean,
you had your kids at this point too.
oh yeah.
Wow.
We did.
That's
So you had
wild.
and you had 3 kids and were raising them, through all of
Yeah.
of the partying and things like that. And so was there strain? There wasn't strain at all on your marriage during that time, just because you were both in the same.
I
Kind
guess
of in the same
I
boat,
guess
or-
that's why
Okay.
it worked well
That's
for
kinda why
us
it
because
worked.
we were both in
Yeah,
the same.
you're both in it.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
because sometimes it can be, one's on a very different page and they're frustrated because their spouse isn't where they want them to be.
Yeah.
So whenever he, met the Lord in Tennessee, where were you at that point?
I mean, I didn't even know it happened.
Oh, okay.
So you didn't even you
Like
didn't
so
know
the
that
next
was the
day
Lord.
you like told.
No, it wasn't
Oh,
even-
I didn't say nothing.
Oh, you
I
kept it
literally,
close.
I was still processing things.
Oh,
But there
wow.
was a definite change. Like, I mean, my language changed. They
Okay.
knew something was up.
Okay.
I didn't tell them, but they could sense.
'cause
Like
you-
the
Well, I'm
friends
sure
we
talked
were
Lori-
with,
different.
Yeah,
You acted
right.
the
different.
friends we were with, they sensed it too. Like,
Yeah.
like everyone, when we got back to Canada,
Just
yeah,
something
people
different.
just started realizing that hey, this isn't the same
That's
guy
incredible.
anymore.
That's incredible.
Were you scared to say anything to anybody because you were like, I want to make sure this is real for me. I want to know what this means. I want to make sure I'm legit
Yes.
doing this before I
Yeah.
tell
Yeah,
people, and then them be asking all kinds of questions and me not being sure where I'm at yet. Did you feel like you just needed some time?
Yes.
Okay.
I would say definitely. I felt like there was definitely if it had happened with a bunch of believers around, I probably would have felt a little more empowered, I guess, or I don't know if that's the right word, but I would have felt a little more brave, I guess, to step out, whatever. But kind of doing it solo, I didn't have no one to walk alongside me. It was literally me and the
Right.
Lord,
Wow.
and
Wow.
I mean, He walked me through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like I said, like there was things that did not, might have taken a couple weeks or whatever before I really started sharing with everybody, like talking about it.
Oh, that's totally fair. Okay. Wow. Well, you guys talked a little bit about the pretty serious cuts you made in your life, and I think that's a lot of people don't know that level of extreme of like literally moving out of an area to get out of an environment. But what was there? Would there be one thing that was like the hardest thing that you had to do to make that decision? Like, because I mean, this is 19 years, right, of your life. Like people you got to know really well. Was there one thing in that when choosing to follow Christ? Was there one thing that was the hardest thing to walk away from when you made that decision?
I'm trying to think. Maybe not. Like I guess the move part was the hardest.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
if I want to single something out, it would be like literally because we have 2 girls that are in Canada,
Yes.
and leaving them behind. Like I shouldn't say that because before we moved, we actually sat them down at the table and we begged them to come with us.
Okay. Okay.
But we also recognized that they did have a life of
Yeah.
their own already.
Were they both married at that point?
No.
No.
Okay.
The younger one was dating,
Okay.
but the older one wasn't dating, but she was going to college.
Okay.
Okay. So their
And
life was there, and you
Her,
didn't
her
wanna
li-
pull
yeah,
them
she
out
had
of that.
friends, and she was just like, I just don't want to go. So
Wow.
we said, well, we'll support you as good as we can. Like we'll still help you out as good as we can, and that's what we
Wow.
did. I mean,
And you made the move.
looking back, sometimes I'm like, did we do the right thing? But then it doesn't take long to realize that, you know what? Had I stayed there, would I be saved still? Would I have gotten pulled back?
Yeah.
I don't have that regret now. So
Yeah.
to me, that's a win.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Wow.
it's still is, it's a little bit of a struggle sometimes when you think about, you get, especially with the grandbabies out there.
Yeah.
Of course, Dave. Of course.
Makes it a little hard, but
You got to get them to
Right.
the States.
that would be the hardest. If I
Yeah.
say one thing that in the whole
Yeah.
thing that was hard,
Mhm.
that would be it.
I totally hear you.
That's a big step.
big decision.
And like, it's one thing to change your lifestyle and decide I'm on a new path now. Let me try to find new friends in the same area. Let me try to build a new life here. It's a whole nother ballgame when you say, I'm serious about this. I'm serious about following the Lord. And I know I need to remove myself from a place when it requires you leaving your kids. And I just want to say, like, bless you in that, because even though you left them physically and they obviously don't get to see them every day, you miss out on that. I feel like the decision you made to leave makes so that you can be the dad that maybe you never could have been if you'd stayed and pulled back into the crowd. Because now, like, I think of you guys now, and you're here. You know, I've only known you since from your story from when you got here. Because did you move here when I did 5 years ago? But you didn't.
Well, we didn't come to Foothills.
You didn't come to Foothills.
No.
That was how many
No.
years ago? Was that 3, 2?
It's been 3, probably.
I think it's
or
been about 3 years
3-ish?
now that we've been
Okay.
at
A
Foothills.
little bit over 3
think.
years.
Okay.
October, I
Yeah.
think, would have been 3 years.
Yeah. And I look at you now, like with what all you guys do here and how what you're involved in with youth group and in church, like and you can see now like there's things that people are reaching out to you guys for. Can you guys be a part of this? Can you lead a group at church? Can you be influent? Like we want you to be the ones at our youth activities influencing our youth, and like how God is using you guys because of your obedience and your choices that you made. That I mean, you could have stayed following him in Canada. That could have been possible.
Yeah.
But at the moment you obeyed him and you said, I need to go. And at a great expense, like leaving your kids or whatever, but it feels like you're giving them a huge gift of becoming the man that you are and a father like that they get to look up to, and you lead them well and spiritually and stuff. And like to me, like that's just a huge sacrifice, but a huge gift that you've given them. And I just want to bless you both in that. Like I didn't even realize the extent of how big of a decision that was. Like you guys coming, I didn't realize even why you left.
Right.
And I know it's hard on y'all being here with your kids not being around you, but I think that they're very blessed to have you guys as parents, and you guys made a hard decision, but I think it's for the betterment of your family as a whole for the future. Yeah. And I just I can't bless you guys enough. And then to see how God has just raised you guys up to positions of influence and authority for others is huge. It's like such a full circle moment of God saying like, I want to use you and I'm going to influence other people because of your story and your testimony. And so it's really cool to see.
Well, part of that probably doesn't, like what makes it easier to say yes to things now is maybe having been saved a little bit later. If that makes any sense. Like if I had been saved for 30 years, you can tend to get a little bit comfortable.
Yeah. No, it's very true.
And right
Very
off
true.
the hop, when I became a Christian, that was one thing that I promised God that I would always be yes.
Wow.
Anything that like now
Wow.
anyone listening, don't
Don't take advantage now.
don't take advantage of it.
Yeah,
Still
they're
listen
like,
to
hey,
the
Dave,
Lord.
we need you to come to
But
Africa for 2 years.
Lori's like,
You
But
would.
I would. The conversation has come up.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'm not gonna say it. If it's something that we believe that
Right.
God is
From
calling
God.
us to,
Of course.
we're gonna be yes. Because
Amazing.
why not?
Yeah.
What could we be missing out on if we say no? So
That's a good perspective, Dave. That's
Wow.
that's
And being,
incredible.
that it was like you're 40 years old, finding the Lord, and you're like, I don't have time to waste.
yeah,
I
exactly.
don't have time to
It's
waste.
true.
I need to say
Exactly.
yes
Some
to
more
the
of a
Lord
sense of
and do what He's calling me to do with like the time I have left.
Yep.
And I do agree with you. There's time when you grow up and you kind of become a little bit desensitized to the importance of what it means to follow God, because you just, I'm a Christian, I follow God.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of do what I want to do a lot of the times. And it's like, am I as tuned to His voice? Is it as important to me and that I am like making every second count for Him?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's a good reminder to myself and hopefully other people of like, it doesn't matter when you found the Lord, the importance of what He's calling you to do and saying yes to Him matters at any stage, at any age.
You got to stay plugged in somehow.
Yeah. That's a good word.
If you don't,
Yeah.
that's where the laziness comes in.
Ooh. Yeah,
And
that's
I'm
true.
not trying to step on anyone's toes, but that's the
Sometimes we need
reality of it.
people need toes stepped on.
We need to get called up to things we do. And I just want to bless you guys for just what Jen was saying, your obedience. Because, like, okay, you could have just maybe not taken trips down here, or like, we're like, hey, we should move. Where do we go? You could have just stayed up there and been like, well, God, bring something up here. And like, you probably could have, but like, even just taking a trip down, like just that step. So often we want to know 3 or 4 steps down the road, but we're just called to take the next one. And I feel like that's been y'all's story. And I think that is so true. And it's awesome. It's amazing.
And what was it like for you, Lori, like as a wife, to see the change in him? Were you just like, what's happening to my husband?
It was exactly that. Because, I mean, for the first while, because I didn't know for several days, actually, what was going on in his life. I knew something had happened, but
Yeah.
I didn't know what. And, like, the first time I was like, what is up with him? It was on our way home from Tennessee, and I had cussed in the car, and he looked at me and
Kind
he
of
said,
chastised you.
"Yeah, he did. He totally." and that I was
And
like,
you're like,
"What
huh?
is his problem? Like, what's with him? Why is he telling me not to say that word?"
That's crazy.
And so I was kind of like, I mean, I was kind of irritated by
Watch your
that because
mouth.
like he's
Well,
telling
you were
me
like,
to-
excuse me, you say this all the time.
Exactly.
Why are
Excuse me,
you judging
swear
me?
like a sailor. I don't want to hear
exactly.
it.
And yeah,
That's
that
crazy.
was the first time that I knew something had switched and changed, but I didn't know what.
Yeah.
And
So
it
he
wasn't-
said that you didn't ask him in the moment, like,
No.
something going on. You just kind of like, okay, you're
no,
sensing things.
I mean,
but
we like, I mean, our friends and myself, we all sensed something was up, but we didn't know to the extent of what was up.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And it wasn't
Wow.
until we got home. I don't know how many days we would have been home before he would have actually shared with me what was going on.
Okay.
And I mean, it took a while for me to be open to it because I wasn't ready for the change.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Right, because this was his experience, personal
Yeah,
experience, and it's
exactly.
like whiplash for you. All of a sudden, you're like,
Yeah.
what's happening?
Yeah.
Like our
Right.
life is like he's the leader of the home, and you guys your life has been lived together. You kind of do the same things, and all of a sudden that changes. But was your heart ready for that? Were you like, okay, I'm ready to follow you and also
it
reconnect
took
with
a
the
while.
Lord?
It took a while. And I didn't have that big moment like he did.
Okay.
Mhm.
For me, it was more, I think, just seeing him make the changes and then just following along with it, starting to go back to church and doing the things. But
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have that big
Yeah.
moment like
Aha
he did.
moment.
Okay.
But sometimes it's like, you said you always did believe Jesus and would
Yeah.
call yourself a Christian.
For sure.
But once he kind of led by example, you were able to start actually be like,
Yeah.
okay, what does it mean to be a Christian?
Mhm.
And then your behavior would, start to change. You got plugged into
Mhm.
church to where you could start learning and growing. And to me, like, that's also so incredible of when it's like this gradual, like, wow, like, okay, I do care about this more. Like, wow, like Jesus is more than what I thought he was
Mhm.
before, or my life should be different more than what I thought
Mm-hmm.
because that's who I serve.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's incredible too. And the fact that, like, I mean, Dave, you think about it, you changed a generation. Like, obviously the Lord does the work and he's the one who called you and led you to that point to get that pay. Like, none of that's by accident. He was coming after you. And he was like, I want you to, to be in the fold and to be my son. But yet you had to say, yes, Lord, I'm in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a choice.
And
choice
I'm
to
just
make.
like, I just hear so many like dads and fathers that just aren't being that example and leading in that way and taking the hard steps to change. Because you didn't just have saying yes to the Lord had a flip side to it.
Mm-hmm.
Saying that, like, it just blows my mind to think of a man being able to say, I'm going to change my entire life. I'm going to leave my friends. I'm going to leave my lifestyle. Like, that's a lot. And there's a lot of people that are not willing to do that, to make that sacrifice. And so by you doing that and then being an example to Lori, like, now you get to look up to and follow a godly man who is seeking the Lord and leading you and leading your kids. And now it's their kids. Like, the generational switch that happened because you said yes, like, that's generations right there. And I'm just like, gives me chills to think about the world changers and the Christ followers that are going to come from the Krahn family because you said, I want more than what I have. So, pretty crazy.
You guys have plowed some new ground that never been plowed before, and I bless you for that because now it's a lot easier for the ones coming after you. So, bless you for that, big time.
Thank
Big
you.
time.
I mean,
Of course.
it's all God's glory to God.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
He orchestrated the whole thing, and
He does.
now we look at our children. It's like how just this past Christmas we were all under the same roof. Girls came down here, and I was kind of thinking to myself, like, how in the world did I end up with all 3 kids being saved?
Wow.
Like,
yeah.
where I came
Yeah.
from, it's like, well, I couldn't be
Hard
more
to
blessed. I couldn't be
yeah.
more blessed.
That's
Yeah.
God, man.
Yeah.
More than we deserve.
Yep.
Yeah, way more. Do you guys have something? Is there one lesson or anything that you would say is that you've learned with your relationship with the Lord that the biggest lesson you've learned in your walk with the Lord through this whole thing? Is there one takeaway or 1 or 2 things that you'd be like, you know what, this is like so important in your walk with the Lord or that the Lord has taught you?
Don't try to plan things your way.
That
That is the biggest lesson I've
Okay.
learned. That
That's
what,
good.
just let it happen.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let God take control and
Give him the reins.
and that's it. Because
Okay.
I had things planned out totally different.
Yeah.
And if I really think about it, we wouldn't be here having the opportunity to plug into Foothills the way we have. None of that would have been there if things had gone Dave's way. That's right. That's right. That's right. We'd probably be off and fighting fires in California.
Oh,
right?
man. Oh,
that would have been good too.
Wouldn't have been too bad right now. I'm sure they'd be like, "Oh, we could use your help."
Yeah.
That's great.
Wow.
That's awesome.
And I think that's awesome advice too, because if you do that, if you just say, "Not my will, but yours be done," and you tell me where to go, and I'll say yes.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we make it harder than what it is, I think, a lot of times, and it's just literally saying yes to God. And I know sometimes it's hard to know what that looks like and what does He want, but you guys just took steps. You knew you needed to get out of Canada. You didn't know exactly where, so you took a trip. And then you were in South Carolina randomly, and someone was like, "Come look at our house," and you said, "We'll look at it. We ain't coming here." And then you look at it, and then you get home, and you're like, "Maybe we should go to South Carolina." And you're like, "Let's go to this house," and then that means you have to find a job. Like, what do we do for work? And is that when you started working with Nate right away, or you worked somewhere else when you moved here?
In Canada, I did framing. Like, I built houses.
Okay.
And so when I came down here, the first little bit, that's what I did.
Just on your own, just kind of
I
got
tried
out
making it
there
work. That was one of my plans.
Okay.
Hey.
And
And it didn't
last.
No one knew me. It was hard
Yeah,
to
I
get
gotcha.
we weren't plugged in at church. I didn't have good help. Devin
Right.
was too young at the time.
Yeah.
kind of
He
starting
was only
over from
13 when we moved.
Was he?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah,
It's
that's
kinda
true.
crazy to think
Yeah,
about.
that is crazy to think about.
That is wild.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hard when you come to a new community. There's no references.
No.
There's no. You're from Canada. No one's like another country, and you're just like, let me frame your house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone's
Yeah.
like, who are you?
Who are you?
Yeah.
Yep.
That is tough to get a start. So then, when that wasn't working out, is that when you?
I actually worked at Blue Ridge Log Cabins for 1 year.
Okay.
Okay.
Um,
Oh,
And
cool. I
then-
don't think I knew that.
yeah.
Cool.
And
So
was
I-
that around the time that you started coming to because when did you start coming to? You lived here, but you weren't attending a church at the time.
I was
no,
working
we lived here for what, a year before we started. So it was
and a
actually through Devin that we would have connected to, right? Because he went to Vertical.
Sean and Lori.
Well,
Oh,
yeah, but
okay.
Devin then enjoyed Vertical.
Okay.
So he got
And
invited
then-
to Vertical
Okay.
through
Yes,
Yep.
the
Interesting.
through Sean and Lori Bontrager.
Uh-huh.
And then he actually didn't want to go.
yeah.
And so I just made a deal with him and I said, I'm going to get you a ticket and you're going to go. But if you hate it the first day that you're there,
You
you don't have to go the
next
rest
days.
of the weekend.
And that was before he knew anybody
That's
at the
right.
church.
He
It was
knew
just
Jake.
he heard about this.
He knew Jake
Jake,
Bontrager.
Jake and
yeah.
Brody.
Okay.
Jake and
Yeah.
Brody.
So he
yeah.
knew about this conference through them and was like, okay,
Yeah.
Mom, one day
Yeah.
I'll go.
Yeah. And the next morning, he was up before I was up and ready to get back
I
over to
love it,
Vertical.
Mom.
Yeah.
No
and so
way.
That's
I think,
wild.
I don't know, that was Verticals in September every year. So I don't think
I think it was October.
we started going. It was a
Really?
few
It
weeks
was
later.
October.
Okay.
And that was
Okay.
because like Devin was
Well-
like, hey, you guys should check out this church.
Well, we
I
just
Well,
figured since he
initially-
was there, we should probably let him connect
Okay.
more with the youth that he'd gone.
because then he made some friends over
Makes
Vertical,
sense.
and you're like, let's go back
Yeah.
again and
Yeah.
have
Makes
him
sense.
make some friends.
Somehow she had been invited to one of these women's things.
Oh, Ada.
And-
Ada's,
Oh,
Yeah.
Ada's
oh,
sure.
okay.
Wednesday
Okay.
night thing.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
how in the world, but
Okay.
that's where she met Lori Bontrager.
That's right.
Oh.
And so we started actually hanging out with them.
Okay.
And then it was through that we
Wow.
Devin was
That's
invited
right.
to Vertical, and then
What in the
we were like, "Well, our
world?
friends are going to that church.
That's
I mean,
so
let's go check.
wild.
Let's
check
go
it
check it out,
Let's
right?
Check it out.
What in the world? I did not
And,
even know how that happened.
Yeah.
And wow, how cool that one like invite
Yeah.
Yeah.
is a step
That-
to get you
One
guys.
decision. Change your life
Yeah.
forever.
That's
Now
right.
you guys are
Decision.
youth
That's right.
leaders,
Yeah.
plugged in. You're helping at these conferences now, which is
Dude,
unreal.
isn't that crazy?
Like-
That's actually so true. The conference that brought y'all to
Yeah.
Yeah.
Foothills
Right.
is now you guys. I don't know if that's public knowledge, but you're
Yeah.
asked to.
Oh,
All of a sudden, I'm like, am I letting cat out of the
Well, I
bag?
mean, it's not like
Surprise.
this.
You're
Surprise!
Well,
Really,
it
his
is
headphones
now.
fell off.
right.
And now you're like overseeing the North Carolina part of
Yeah.
Vertical and the conferences here, and like, oh man,
Yeah,
this
that's
is just wild. Like what
a
you said,
powerful
you don't
testimony.
plan it yourself. Don't try to make your own path because if you can't orchestrate
No.
something like this
No.
on your own. Like
Right.
you couldn't if you tried to plan it, you couldn't make it happen. But then God can just like open this door and like, hey, you need to be here because you're going to meet this person in a year from now, and then after that, you're going to go to this church so I can use you. Like He knows all this stuff, and He's like,
Right.
if you just say yes, I'll get you there. Don't try to jump ahead. Don't try to think it. Don't try to figure out what I'm doing. Just trust me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right.
That's crazy. I just love that so much. And now you're here to stay. Until God called you somewhere else?
We don't see any other option right now. I mean, maybe I shouldn't say option again. I'm not gonna say never.
Yeah, but this is
But
where you
this
feel
is
at
where-
peace right
yeah.
now.
This
Yeah.
is home.
Yes.
This is where we feel at home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
If God calls us somewhere else,
yeah.
I mean, as much as that might suck, we would
Yeah.
probably do it.
You've given him your yes.
Yeah, you're
So
like, I did say I would say yes to God. Now
I'm gonna pray
that-
he keeps you here for a while.
Yeah.
That's
But
the
that-
prayer.
but
There we go.
That's the prayer.
And that's where you go with the pieces. And if he would call you somewhere else, then that's where your heart would want to go because even
Yeah.
though it would be hard, you
Yeah.
want to go where
Yeah.
he has you
Yeah.
and where he's
Yeah.
called you.
Right.
But it definitely seems like he wanted you here at least for this season because
Mm-hmm.
through Foothills, you've met a bunch of people. You guys have become a staple in the church. I mean, everyone knows Dave and Lori and Devin, and your family is, just have gotten so involved with youth and and so many other different avenues in church. And it's like, I can't imagine Foothills without Dave and Lori.
I know. You guys are a big part of it. So
And
Well,
yet,
we're-
only a
we're-
few years ago, you weren't even
We're
here.
very blessed to be a part of it.
Yes,
we are
we
very
are.
we are grateful every
Mhm.
day.
Cool.
that
cool.
This is where God has us now. We're taking advantage of
You're
it.
living it.
And so, just for like, I know there's probably people that have listened, and even if they one day will, there's some people that say, I want to follow Jesus, but I don't want to give all this up because I think this is better. What advice would you give to them with, something that says, because in the moment you feel like, oh, I can't, I got to have the feeling I get when I have marijuana, when I go to parties, and they're like, I don't want to give that up to follow Jesus. Then I have to give up everything. What would your advice be to that person?
Give it up.
Mm.
I mean, to me there was no option. I knew that my heart was set. I wanted to follow the Lord, and I knew that these steps needed to be taken. I didn't know what he had in store for me. Looking back now, it's easy to look back and be like, oh, that was a good move or whatever. At the time, though, I
Right.
literally was like, my prayer was just like, God, it's in your hands. Like,
Yeah.
you lead us.
And you believe what he has to offer
Yeah.
way outweighed
Yeah.
what you had to give up.
Yeah.
Like the things that he's given you and the peace and the joy
Yeah.
and following him is, I think that's what's hard for some people to wrap their head around, that this could be better than what this is.
Mhm.
And that's, I think, a lot of times what they're like, oh, if I follow Jesus, I can't do all these things. But in your case, you don't want to anymore
No.
because
No,
what he gives
those
you is
desires
just,
are gone. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
it's not,
Yeah.
that's,
It's not even
Yeah.
a thing.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it's like when you think about it, it really comes back to your basis and belief of the world. Like, okay, if you believe that we're just randomly created or that we're not here for a purpose, it's like, yeah, I'm going to do what feels good. But
Yeah.
it's like,
Mhm.
okay, if God made me, then, or if there is a creator, then it's like, okay, if I do what I feel he's calling me to do, that's the best life I can lead.
Mm.
It's recognizing that, wow, there is a creator. I was created on purpose with a purpose. And when I can walk after that, that's going to be the most fulfilling life that I can leave. And you guys' testimony and everything, thank you for sharing. You guys,
seriously.
thanks for opening up your life. That's a vulnerable thing to do.
Mhm.
And I know there's a lot of people, local people that listen to this that didn't know a lot of this. Yeah, thanks for being willing to
When
do
you
that.
gave us a heads up on coming on, and that's kind of what we're going to be talking about. I actually had to sit there and I'm like, man, I haven't thought about my testimony for
Okay,
quite a while.
for a while,
So
yeah.
it was a bit of today.
Okay.
It was a bit of reflection and kind of like
Little,
it was really encouraging for me to see where I came from and where I'm
Yes.
at today. Like it was
Wow.
Yeah.
wow.
That's amazing.
So thanks for having us. I mean,
Are you kidding?
That's
Absolutely. Those
pleasure.
are the times where I'm like, we should do that more
Yeah.
with each other is talk about our testimonies. What's God
Yeah.
doing for
Talk
us?
about
Because
it.
we do forget sometimes.
Yeah.
We're like, oh my word, like God walked with me through that. He brought
Yeah.
me here.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
that was 5 years ago already that I was
Yeah.
here. Now look where he has me,
Mm-hmm.
what I've learned. And I think that's why what was the Bible story where the people were supposed to put the stones across the river or something. They were supposed to build an altar as a remembrance. Like remember what the Lord has done for
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you. Because we so easily forget.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I think we would do well to like do more of that with each other as fellow believers. Are like, man, look what God's done.
Yeah.
Look at God.
Yep.
So that's cool
Look
that
at
you got
God.
to kind of like
Put it on a shirt. Look at
look at
God.
God.
Hey, that's
Just-
actually
look at
that'd be
God.
that's a good
I
one.
like that.
All right, put that in the
I think
notes.
that's
Look at
actually
God.
a
Yeah.
really good one.
Dude.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
it.
Putting
Yeah.
it down in the notes.
we'll be the first four to have one.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
And then we can spread it out.
I love
And then
it.
we can spread the
Then we
cheers.
can spread the cheers.
Look at God. 'Cause we do not brag on God enough. It's like
It's
he's the
true.
one who does all the
Oh,
changing.
he
It's
deserves
like
all the credit.
It's easy to take credit for little things, and it's
Then
just
it's
like, at the end of
are
the
you
day,
kidding?
I wouldn't even be here.
yeah, true.
It's
Or
just-
if people look from the outside and say, "Man, look at Dave and Lori, look at Derek, like how incredible they are, and they do all these things," and it's like It's God
Yeah,
in us. Like
exactly.
let's brag on
Exactly.
Him. Let's
Yep,
not forget about
exactly.
that and what He can do to change a life, to change desires, to change
Yep.
a family, change. I'm sure your marriage, has grown and become more sweet and more intentional, and just you two together as you've grown close to the Lord too. It's just like so many good things, and so I appreciate. I would love some. I mean, you could probably fill a book with your story, and you too, Lori. Like
I know.
walking
there was
with
plenty
Him in
more
your
to
own
be
stuff.
there.
I'm sure
Right.
there's
Yeah.
so much more that we haven't even
Yeah.
touched on that.
Yes.
You guys could probably write a book and fill it. And
I'm not much of a writer. Again, I'm not going to say never. I gotta learn how to
Or-
spell first.
Well, that's ChatGPT for you. You
That's
just voice
right.
it; they'll
There's
spell it
an
out
app
for you.
that. There's
That's
AI
right.
for that, Dave. There's AI for that, Dave. That's so funny.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Well, I think that's a great opportunity too for people just to come ask you how that journey was, in conversation and be like, "Hey, tell us more. We heard about this. Tell us more." I think that's
Yeah,
so.
and some things are personal. You're like, you know what?
Yeah,
No, I never
exactly.
want to. Lord, rescue me from certain things that you and the Lord know, and you don't want to share. You don't want to talk about anymore. It's in the past. And then sometimes He'll call you to share things because it could help someone else.
Yep.
I fully
That's right.
believe that, like our pain and our hard stuff and art can be the story that we tell to help someone else who's right in that spot that needed to be like, okay, that's me. Like I'm not alone, and there's a way out. I think that like He never wastes our pain,
Yeah,
and so I think
right.
that there's good that can come from sharing our stories, sometimes in depth when He calls us to. And you'll probably have you probably have a more unique way of connecting with people that have been through what you've been through, and people that are struggling with. I can't connect as well as someone who struggled with, really needing certain things or wanting certain things because I haven't been there. But you can understand more and then say, but there's so much more on the other side of this. And so that's a gift that your story, like each individual story, has to someone else. So
Yeah.
really cool.
I love it, guys.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for sharing.
For real, thank you guys.
Yes, for real. Really appreciate that. We got another segment that we always love. We all know it. We all love it.
Yeah, we're bringing it back.
It's hot takes time. Let's go for them hot takes. I honestly can't wait to
We
hear
really
the hot
just
takes.
shifted these gears
Oh
right now.
yeah,
The Lord brings hot takes,
we're in
and it's
sixth
all
gear.
still about the Lord.
Yes,
So.
you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right. So, guys, hot takes. What do you got for something a little controversial, a little unpopular opinion, maybe? And it doesn't have to be extreme, but we just want to hear what you got. So,
Go for it, Dave.
all right, Dave, kick us
All
off,
right.
my man. Dave to serve.
I'm mountains over beach all day
Oh,
long. All day
hey,
long.
Honestly, for some people, that's a flaming
It
hot
might
take.
not be. Yeah,
Me and Dave are almost the same guy.
Yeah.
I love Dave.
That's probably not right.
No, it is. No, it is.
No, I love the mountains. I really do. But man, good beach day.
yeah.
It's too much. It's too good. But there's beauty in both.
There is.
Yeah, I'm
and
not
there's some
saying,
people that are like, no, never. I like never would choose any mountains over a beach. But mountains are pretty nice.
See, when I get on
will
a
say.
beach,
What do you do?
I'm there for like 5-10 minutes.
That's where
Oh,
I'm
but-
at.
like,
Then I'm like,
what are we doing?
I've seen what I want to see. What are we doing? I can
so
get sun
restless.
somewhere
He needs to
else.
be- yeah.
I can get
So the
sun without sand
mountains-
in my shorts.
The mountains you can hike,
That's
you can
right.
explore. you
That's
can-
right.
And there's no sand in your shorts. It's just
That's
such a
right.
blessing.
You know,
Such a
yeah.
blessing.
So Lori, where are you at with that? Does this cause problems with coming up with family vacations?
Well, I'd probably be more on the mountainside too.
Okay.
But it's funny because we used to do resort getaways all the time when we were still in our party days. And I would love to just lay on the beach and just do nothing. And this dude would get so antsy, and he'd be
just-
looking at like different things we could go do.
Hikes.
And like,
And you're like, we're
Adventures.
doing what we're gonna
And I'm
do
like,
today.
Laura's
We're
like,
here.
We're on
Relax.
vacation. What are we doing?
So-
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That is great.
but
Okay.
I'd definitely be more on the mountains.
That's cool. So you
Over
guys can.
beach.
Okay. Well, you guys are in a great
It
place
works
for that.
out.
It
I
is
agree.
mountains.
Works out for
Foothills of the
us.
mountains,
We
man.
live in
Yeah.
the
We
mountains.
literally live in the
Yeah.
mountains.
So this is the place for you. I
Right.
moved to Florida, so see
You're
ya.
right. We know where
Oh,
Jen. We know
I
where
headed
Jen's
to the
heart's
beach.
at.
You know what's funny? I haven't been to the beach since I moved there. It's
It's been cold
like
though.
6 weeks.
It's been cold though.
I actually agree with you. The beach is not
Right.
as great as people say, but
Overrated.
it is cold now. But it was warm like
Yeah.
over the week of Christmas. But I was just like,
Yeah.
it's a lot of work.
It's probably crowded too.
It's a lot of
Full.
work.
You have to pack all your stuff. You do get
Right.
sandy. I don't love that. I had got a new car, so I didn't want to get sand in it. That
when
was
you
the
gotta
other
clean
reason.
the car.
I was like not into that. And so, yeah. So I agree. Like I think the beach is a little bit. I think everybody leaves the beach a little bit like that's annoying. That's like there were some things I didn't love about that.
This bad feeling I had should have heeded that.
But there's a lot of
Should have
good.
went to the mountains.
Should have went to the mountains. Dang it.
Mountains.
I see people walking out the
Right.
beach with like 6 kids and a million things in
Yeah.
their wagon, and
Oh,
I'm just
man.
the process of getting in the car and the
Right.
kid-
It's hot.
that
Ugh.
I'm like, let's go to the
Nope.
pool.
It's rough. Yeah, go to the pool.
Yeah.
But then there is some therapy about going to the beach and sitting there with an umbrella and a book and some snacks and just listening to the waves. And Dave's hating everything about it. He's like, hey, I'm getting less
Yeah.
interested. That can be
Oh,
therapy
yeah.
sometimes, you know?
It can be. It can be.
So
The last 2 years in Sarasota when we've been down there, I haven't went to the beach once. Like maybe 3 years. 2 or 3. I haven't been
wow.
out there. And
Wow.
haven't I've enjoyed it. I have zero regrets. Zero regrets from that. So
Nice.
anyway.
yeah,
All right.
okay.
Well, there's one. Lori, what you got?
I'm going with, and this is only because of the youth leaders,
Oh.
Anthony, Katie, Keisha, Caleb.
Oh boy.
All have iPhones. I have Android. Android's better than iPhone.
Oh my word. That is
this
the hottest
poor
take.
lady. She is so blind.
Lori,
I can't
They-
convince-
so blind.
Every single one of them is so jealous
Androids
of me.
unite. Let's go.
I'm
Oh.
so
Lori,
jealous.
Lori.
Yeah.
What is one thing they're jealous of on your Android? Just
Everything.
tell me one.
Everything.
No, don't give me that
I
generality.
mean,
They're the only.
the simplicity.
Oh my word.
They're just jealous that they can't be the one in the group text to look different.
That's right.
False.
That's right.
False.
Exactly.
Oh
Exactly.
man, I'm telling you what. Are you iPhone?
Whatever.
I'm iPhone all the
So
way.
okay, how
Yeah.
does that work in a marriage? Are we like
Doesn't-
split?
It doesn't. No.
James, like it doesn't.
Like,
That's
this
our
is
biggest
interesting.
issue.
It's
That's our
pretty
biggest
rare
issue.
that
No.
a husband and wife have the difference because it feels like there's one is all
Oh.
in on one, and you have to be united for the marriage to work. But I
no.
guess you guys approved.
We don't use our phones for half the things that other people do.
Well,
like
and
what
listen-
they're capable
Yeah,
of. We
sure.
literally
No,
use them
keep
for
it simple.
like text,
Keep it
call,
simple.
whatever. Right? That's it.
Yeah.
I
So,
should literally show you the text messages between the two of us. It's the most
It's
ridiculous
pretty,
thing.
pretty
we're-
impressive.
That's pretty
Yeah.
Because
impressive.
there's none.
Especially on my
No.
part.
Oh,
I go
This is
all
so
out.
minimal.
I go all out. You know.
One word, 2 words.
It's yeah. It's
I noticed
it's
Dave's, Dave's a one-word answer kind of guy. I was texting
Thumbs
them
up.
both today. Thumbs up, hot,
Yeah.
mocha, like simple,
Yeah, it's-
no frills,
that's-
no frills.
That's
That's
how he is
me.
with his
I
wife
respect
too.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
that is funny.
Phone calls are not his thing either. So like
Oh,
No,
So
okay.
if
I'm a.
You're
So if you
Yeah.
guys aren't
Face-to-face.
together, you ain't
Okay.
talking.
it's
You
that's
got to
correct.
get face to face.
That's correct.
Or we used to FaceTime when because when we first moved here for a little bit, she stayed in Canada for a couple of weeks while I got everything figured out here. We would FaceTime.
Okay.
We did that.
She did that some.
But I mean now, like even when he was working with Nate and he'd be gone overnights, for him to call me, sometimes I wouldn't hear from him for 2 days because, I mean, that would mean he'd have to get on the phone and have a conversation.
Yeah, and that's not what he's into.
And if I send him a text and he doesn't think that he needs to respond to it, like it's something, so like I've learned that I have to do like question mark form, or else I may not even get a response from him. So it's like I had a question
do you
mark.
ever
Question
do the
mark.
voice messaging?
No, I've never figured that one out.
Okay.
I've never done
Oh,
it.
Dave,
That-
it's a whole new world,
you
man.
should-
It's a good world
If
too.
you have Android to iPhone, you should just get WhatsApp.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do have WhatsApp.
Oh,
You
yeah.
just- you can just click
I've
the,
just,
voice
I
messages.
guess
click that
I've never done
microphone
it.
button
It's really
and
easy,
start
Dave.
chatting.
You can do it. You can do it.
Yeah, that's I hate texting with a passion. I just hate it. I don't like doing that.
Well,
thing.
I am very much
But I
anti
like-
anything in the hands other than the steering wheel when I'm driving.
Yeah.
Wow, that
So-
should be a across the board, Dave. I'm with you. on that.
Unfortunately, it's not, especially
know.
around here. So I
yeah.
mean, a lot of times, like
I'm
if
pretty bad
she
on
texts me while I'm driving,
No,
Just like-
don't
I don't
answer.
even. Sometimes I don't even see the message until
No.
the next day because I
Oh.
forget to look at it. And I'm just
Oh.
like, I'm not.
Yeah.
Typically, I'm not. I mean, I shouldn't say I'm never on my phone. I'm on my phone a lot these days. I guess it seems like
But
I
not
find
while you're
I
driving.
have a lot more
is
time, but not
good.
while I'm driving. No.
That's we
That's
get used
smart.
to it, but it only takes one time, and your
Mhm.
life could change forever. And I'm like, Derek, don't get
I know.
comfortable
I have
doing
to
this.
stop that.
Yes.
Hot take. I watch movies while I drive. Is that bad?
No.
Actually,
You
okay.
do too.
No, I do not.
No.
I do
You
not.
don't?
No. But listen, I will say if you're gonna, that's almost better because if you're not actively like on it, it's better to like look up and down at something, I still would recommend it.
But
like,
you got
if
a
you're
good part in the movie. You can get your eyes
No,
off.
I know, there was
no, but
So I have learned I cannot
boy.
watch action movies.
Oh,
Because
then-
I
how
was
about you don't watch
watching one
movies?
time and I like was I all of a sudden I was like, oh my word, something was
speeding?
happening and I forgot to look up. I forgot to look at the road. I was like, I'm driving. That's
It's just
yeah.
so not worth it.
So what
I've
I-
never done that.
So not
I've
worth
never
it.
done
Yeah.
that.
Any
What I
kind
do
of thing
is
on the phone is not
I
worth
had
it.
my old car. I had a little ledge right where my eyes would be on the road. You just look down a little bit, right on the dash. My phone could sit there, and so if I would put on like say yes to the dress or something like that. Why is that the only thing I can think about right now? I can't think of any shows that are mostly talking.
To the dress.
But something
Oh,
more mild
my.
that you don't you're more listening to it.
Yeah.
And then I'd be
funny.
driving and you're looking out and you just kind of glance down. That to me, I'm like, is it the best thing? Probably not. Is it the worst thing? Probably not. That's my opinion. That's my hot take. But it's risky. Probably shouldn't do it.
I most likely definitely shouldn't do it, but I feel like we've all fallen prey to it. But like seriously, let's stay off our
But my
phones when
long-
we're driving.
Yep.
10-hour
Give
road
your-
trips when I'm just on a straight stretch and I'm just like
Music. Music.
That or podcasts or something.
Yeah, I do
Jen,
listen
or-
to a lot of those, but then sometimes I get sleepy.
Oh,
And if I have something I
Yeah.
can kind of look at, it
Yeah.
kind of helps wake me up.
I understand.
Don't do that at home, kids.
I'll give that a little bit of grace on a road trip, but like locally and stuff, stay off your phone. That should be a non-negotiable.
Yeah, and I don't, and that's
Lord
good.
help
This is
us.
my reminder tonight, guys.
Yeah.
This
So
thing, phone's going. But
Yep.
back to the real thing at hand. Android's better than iPhones. I love that. Right? It's
We can.
so-
I've had both. We can agree to disagree. I honestly, I don't know that I would say one is superior than the other. Like, I think I like iPhone, but it's like I'm okay if you have an Android. It's fine.
yeah.
It's fine. So
Okay.
You're not gonna make fun of me like the team.
no, I'm much
It
more
does stink
gracious.
though. It feels like there's
Much more
so many
gracious.
more iPhoners out there. Like
There is.
There's a cult like following
What?
with it. There is.
it's insane, and I
Absolutely.
almost
we'll
like
call it a cult.
It is a cult.
That's right.
I mean,
it's almost
kind of.
like I can't now. Like I can't ever get an iPhone just out of principle because I just haven't.
Really?
And,
That's okay,
yeah.
Jen. It's okay.
and
That
so I was
sounds like a
like,
pride issue.
I know. I'd have to eat so many words if I ever got an
It's
iPhone.
true.
Oh well,
I have been-
I feel like
yeah,
that's
Android
I
for
have been
life.
Android. The
Yeah.
one thing I hate about, and this is going out to all the Android or the iPhone people that make it. What do they call them? Engineers?
Apple
I don't
or
know.
engineers?
Apple, whoever. Okay, we have technology at our fingertips, and yet somehow we cannot have the Android iPhone crossover. It doesn't work well. When I am sending a message to an iPhone person and they like my message,
Mm-hmm.
guess what? That doesn't
Yeah.
compute. It comes back to me the whole message and says
Someone
so and so liked blah 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 blah,
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
You would
or
think
loved it or laughed at it or what. I'm just like,
it's a whole system trying to
Yeah.
get you in.
it's
That's literally
awful.
what it is.
I'm like, this
Yes.
seems like why
Just
can we
switch.
not
Just
fit?
switch.
Just give it.
Or everyone could
Just
switch to
give in.
Android and we wouldn't have this problem.
Ugh.
And especially in group messages when you're the only
Yes.
Android user, it's like, let's say you send a message out and everyone either likes it or loves it or reacts to
It's
it.
terrible.
You get the same message 18 times.
It's true.
Absolutely.
It's true. The more
Let's figure that
the
out,
more I live
people.
life, the more I'm like, WhatsApp's the way to go. I honestly
yeah.
like for sending messages, sending pictures, sending videos.
I agree.
WhatsApp is kind of I would say go to WhatsApp. That's then across Android, Apple, it's very seamless.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Exactly.
Yeah.
so there's your fix. Jen.
There.
You're welcome.
Done.
Yeah.
we can
what?
we can
He's
we,
touching
we
me.
can get along.
Well, you touched me with your knee again, so just trying to return the favor.
The real reason I moved away.
Oh,
We gotta flip this around sometime.
Wow.
Have you guys on this side one time.
That's true. We did have that one time for our
We did it
birthday.
for our
For our
birthdays.
birthday episode, we
Oh.
had Eugene and Grace interview us. So
Oh, nice.
That was
I'll have to
different.
go back and
That's
watch
cool.
that. I
Yeah, for
haven't
sure.
seen that one.
For sure.
Well, maybe you should co-host with him an episode while I'm gone.
Dave, what do you think? I could actually have. Yeah, I think it'd be a party.
You could be on this side, and then you guys could
Yeah,
interview
we'll
people.
put the grill on someone. We'll put the lights on someone else.
Ooh,
What do you think? Wouldn't that be kind of fun, right?
That'd be kind of fun.
It's fun. It is fun.
I would
So-
just shoot a bunch of surprises.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Like,
that'd
yeah.
be good.
Left hooks, right hooks.
That'd be
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do we got any more hot takes? Is that
That's
Do you
the
guys
hot
have
takes
anything?
I got.
That's all
Good.
I got.
Jen, you got something?
Yeah, I
think
got
you got
one
one.
thing. I
Okay,
got one
good.
thing.
Come on.
It's not mean to shoot it at Derek. It's something
Oh,
I talked
Jen,
about.
I got
think
thick
talked
skin.
in the podcast.
I don't care.
Okay, I actually more want to hear you guys' thoughts. Okay, my hot take is that when you are at a guest's house, you're being hosted by someone.
Oh, I know what's going.
Okay. And it's okay that Derek does this, but when you're hosted by someone, I don't think you should ask for anything that's not served to you already on the table. So, like if you're eating at someone's house and they're giving you pizza and chips, whatever, if there's like something at home you would normally have with it, but they don't have it out, I would not ask for it. I would be like, this is what they're serving me. This is what I'm going to eat. I'm not asking.
Yeah.
So that's my hot take, is that you shouldn't ask.
No.
But then some people think, oh yeah, just maybe they have it in the fridge and just forgot to put it out. So let's just ask. So is that okay?
I'd be on your team with that.
Yeah.
I mean, that
What's
depends.
put out?
I'm just like,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. There's
I
something
want
going on
honest
here.
opinions here, because I'm pretty sure my perspective isn't changing, but I want to hear honest opinions on that, because I might be wrong on this, but.
I mean, that to me,
Okay,
that would
so-
depend on what it is.
Well,
if it's
maybe I
like
should say
a bottle of
Oh, I
ranch
like-
and you like to have ranch with your pizza, I'm gonna say, hey, do you have some ranch?
So you would be okay to ask that?
I'd be okay
And you
to
can
ask
give the context of the
Yeah.
scenario why
Yeah.
you're.
And
It's fine.
again, I'm only doing this because Derek will keep being Derek, and I want him to. I don't want him to feel shade for this because I love that
no,
he
it
is
fires
himself.
me up. I'm gonna keep
But like
asking.
this is one of our disagreements is he will always ask at anyone's house if there's coffee. He will always ask
Oh, I mean,
if they
coffee-
have
they
heavy
sh-
whipping cream and maple syrup. He
Come
will.
over,
Liquid
Derek.
gold?
We've
You're gonna
got it
ask?
all.
So that's
I
what
know
I'm
you do.
saying.
I know you do.
Also, so in my
I would
mind,
probably say not for you. I got like this cheap stuff. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Derek.
Yeah,
Just kidding.
my guess
I would
only
give
getting
you-
the
I would
best.
give you
I
my
know.
gold.
I know
would
you
give my
would.
gold.
I know you would.
so my mindset, and maybe I'm like just too like I never want to be a bother. That's my mindset. Is like
That's-
I would never ask. I would be like, if they're serving coffee, if there's not even cream out, like I can drink coffee any which way, and so I'll just drink. If they don't have anything out, I don't say, do you have cream? I never even ask that because I'm like,
Something you
Hey,
just drink
I'd be
blind.
know
more
what?
like you. In
you know,
that
I don't
way,
need
yeah.
it. And maybe the other thing is like maybe they don't have it, and then they're gonna feel bad that I asked for it, and then they're like, oh shoot, we didn't host well. I'm like, I don't need
But
it.
thinking
Who
about it
cares?
now, I'm thinking about the other side now. What if the coffee was really bad
Well,
and
yeah.
all you needed was that cream or that
Yeah.
maple
Cream in
syrup?
there.
So anyway,
to
but
salvage the
Derek would
evening.
always be like, "Hey, do you have any heavy whipping cream maple syrup?" And to me, I'm just like, "Don't ask that. That's not very nice. What if they don't have it, or what if they have it and they don't want to give it to you? Like,
Well, then you're a crappy host.
especially like
Then you can't host people.
Have you
And
ever
don't
had
invite
someone?
people.
Have you ever had someone say no?
Yeah, there'll be some people that I don't think we have any. Sorry about that. I'm like, oh, no worries at all. no
Not
problem.
just a flat out no explanation behind it.
I don't think so.
I'm
No.
just curious what your
no one's
reaction
just
would
like
be to
no,
that.
and then he
Here's
opens
You
the
the
got
thing.
maple
fridge.
syrup? No.
Here, no. Okay, you wacko, you psycho. Here's my perspective on that. I guess I view it as okay if someone's at my house, I would want them to ask. Like I would want them to feel so at home
Exactly.
to be like, hey, if
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
something you prefer, oh please ask. And if we don't have it, like I have zero issue with that. It's not like I'm disappointed.
that's-
I'm just like that. For me, that's like I basically operate how I
Yeah.
would want to be operated too. And not of the thing of like, oh crap, well they didn't have this. I'm be like, oh, it's no problem. That's why I was just checking.
Right.
Like
So that's cream and maple syrup.
I don't-
for coffee.
I'm not
That's
asking-
different.
Cream-
like if
cream
you're
is
eating
I'm not
pizza,
asking for another
you
side
got this,
hot
You got
dish.
this pizza. Yeah, it's not like
You're like,
not
"Do you
you're
have
going,
some mac and
"Hey,
cheese?"
Yeah.
I like chicken wings.
I'm a
Like,
chicken wings. You got some
chicken
mashed
wings?
potatoes? I need some mashed taters. Like
You know,
that's not me. No.
But I'm actually genuinely at the point where like I'm asking for myself because maybe I am thinking incorrectly. Like maybe I need to view things more as it's okay to ask. There's nothing wrong with asking for things. It's just I feel like for me, I feel like it's rude to ask for something they haven't presented to me. And maybe that's wrong. That's why I'm actually like, I'm trying to be open to changing my thinking on it, of not being like annoyed at Derek if he's like, can I? I'm like, oh, that's like, he felt comfortable enough to ask them because some people view it as, wow, like they felt comfortable in my home to ask me.
Right.
Well,
That
that's
can
how I
be-
would see it. I would
we would
I
be-
would love that if
You
somebody
and I
asked.
are the same, and they're
would
the
love
same
it
in
too.
this.
I would love it too.
That's-
I'd much rather you ask than because it's like if it's something you like, let
Yeah.
me know.
Exactly.
I don't
I
even
think-
have to
and I
ask. She
probably
knows
have
me
it.
good enough. She asked for me.
Hey,
That's
Dave
the
is
win. That's what
wondering.
you need.
Dave is
I just
wondering.
kinda like-
You just give her the elbow.
That's her cue, and she's
All
like,
right.
Hey, honey.
"Do you have maple syrup?"
I love it.
And I think maybe it's
love
because, like, in my mind, maybe it's also because I've lived alone and I've had to buy everything that I have. Like, I've had to purchase it, and I like am budgeting and I'm having certain things, whatever. And so, like, maple syrup's expensive. It is
You
freaking
ain't kidding.
expensive. And so to me, that's a pretty hot commodity to ask for. And so sometimes like if I would have some, maybe I only have like a little bit left and I use it in my coffee and someone's like, hey, can I have that maple syrup? And I wasn't planning on serving it.
So you're
that night.
selfish.
So no, I'm broke.
There's a difference.
There is a
not
difference. Oh, you're selfish broke. Okay. Yeah.
No, I'm just
kidding.
saying. So
No,
that's what
understand,
I
Jen.
think of that process. And then if someone asks me and I'm like, of course I'm going to give it to them.
Yeah.
But I might be like, oh, like, well, that was not what I was expecting to give tonight. But that's okay. That might be selfish. But that's why in my mind, I wouldn't ask for anybody else's because I'm like, what if they're at a place where like they don't buy maple syrup or they don't have much left? Or what if they wanted that for breakfast tomorrow and I used the last of it? I just think about all those scenarios.
How much
and
maple
make-
syrup are you putting in your coffee?
Right.
Well, I don't use it, but yeah, like
Right.
so. Anyways, I'm like, that's
Right.
where I'm like, maybe I'm just overthinking it, and just like, hey, ask people someone you have it, they'll just say no, and just trust that and be okay with it. So I'm like that. That's just like not really. I don't even call it a hot take. I guess my hot take would be like, I would never ask for anything, and don't think anybody should. That's the hot take. But I think maybe I could be wrong on that. So, anywho, that's just the discussion piece that I had.
Yeah.
And so, and maybe
it
it's
was
pride.
fun.
Maybe it's pride that I don't want to ask for something. Probably not.
Well,
I think it's just fear.
Fear.
yeah.
I think it's like I don't want to be a bother.
Yeah, I understand.
I just
that,
don't
Jen.
wanna be a bother.
And you're trying to be sensitive and try to think of where they're at as well. Like, okay, why would they have not offered this?
Yeah.
Like, I get that too. I really do. I think, but I do think a lot of those scenarios in your head are just completely made up, and they're like worst case scenarios that are most likely 1 out of 100 times would maybe happen. And even if it does, it's really not a big deal because like any host wants to serve well, I can almost guarantee you. So for them to have something that they know you enjoy is going to be is actually going to be a blessing for them too, not just
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
But
that's
I'm okay
true.
if we land on different
That's
places with
true.
this, Jen. I'm not going to change.
Hey,
but
but
I
we can
appreciate
end-
the other side. I do.
And I do as well. Wow, why are we being so cordial?
Yeah,
Cheers.
what's going on?
No,
Yeah.
no more
Oh.
touching.
You guys
Well,
are
see,
getting
because
along.
I've
gonna shake my
I've
hand.
hosted people and like done a whole meal, and after the fact realized that I forgot to put something on the table that should have went with the meal, and I was like, I wish somebody would have just
Yeah.
asked me for
Sure.
it,
Right.
because like.
Right.
As a host, sometimes you get so carried
Yep.
away with what you're doing. You think you've got it all organized and put together.
That you missed
Right.
stuff.
And
And
they were
I
probably
missed
like, oh, I
something.
wonder if they have this, but I don't
Yeah,
want to be.
exactly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So
that's
I'd rather
true.
somebody just pipe up and say, hey, do you have, and it was probably waiting to
Right.
be served. It just didn't
Yep.
get served because I forgot.
Right.
And I think it makes a difference on how close you are to the people. Okay, so if
For
I'm,
sure.
if
Not
I'm
for
at,
Derek.
I would
I
hope.
just send it. I could be the first time I
That's
met him.
true.
I'm leading
And
with
you're gonna
maple
ask
syrup.
about maple
I'm
syrup.
leading in
I
there
just
with
cannot
that.
understand
You know
that.
where
That's
it's at.
so. I would never ever like.
I just treat people the way I want to be treated. That's all I try to
Yeah.
do.
That's good.
That's all
But
I
yeah,
try
if
to
it's
do.
like a close friend or people that I know really well, obviously, I'll be like, hey, do you have so and so? Or I just, if you have that kind of relationship,
Right.
and they do that to me as well. So that maybe is a different, and everyone's gonna land at different places. I guess the goal is just everyone to be kind to each other and know,
Yeah.
that
Absolutely.
serve each other well and don't overthink it, Jen. Okay,
Yep.
Jen, don't overthink.
That's good, Jen. I like hearing the other side of that because I think in our heads we're both on the right side of this maybe, or we think we have a better perspective, but it's like no, like that's our opinion, and like I see both sides. I see value to both sides. So
Yeah, same.
Okay.
Moral of the story: everybody just have maple syrup. In your
just
house.
have maple.
Hey,
on
this is
hand.
actually honestly is
That's
probably
a
helping-
Plug. By the
If
way,
you don't have any in your house,
This is helping
Southern
Derek out
Manners
right
Southern
now.
Manners sells it.
It's the best maple syrup you can buy.
What are the odds someone's gonna send you maple syrup?
Oh, can you imagine?
We brought a
Yeah.
bunch of
I will
maple
be your
syrup
friend
from Canada
forever.
last year.
You did.
Yes,
you
you
still have
did.
it.
We did.
I got some from
we,
you.
No,
I'm
we
out.
lost it all.
I'm out.
Crazy.
So-
We're going to be getting more in the spring.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, we have
Little spring
connections.
stock
Well,
up.
somebody send Derek maple syrup
Literally,
so he can take it with him.
if I will plug is something, it's put some heavy whipping cream, and maple syrup in your
Not
coffee.
heavy- no, half and half.
Either one. It depends if you like it creamier. Use the heavy
Do you
cream.
ever froth it?
Ah,
I bet you that'd be great.
that would probably be good too, Lori. But like, it's a game changer. All those other creamers, the fake stuff, it's just crap.
It's
like
terrible.
it's like the lesser things.
Yeah.
It's like sin.
Yeah.
It's like you don't even want it. You don't even want it
You're not
anymore,
wrong.
right?
Yep.
I just drink it straight from the blackness. That's what I love.
Straight from the abyss.
Yeah, that's the kind of. I was like,
Jen likes her coffee like she likes her what? Oh, oh, I won't. I won't say it.
and I can't even say anything because it would not be
because
good.
it might be.
Yeah,
There's so
too
many of
much.
those jokes. Anyway,
Oh, boy.
anyway.
Too much for this. I've already said too
Anyway,
much in this
we've
episode.
said too much. So
But yeah, if Derek comes to your house, everyone's gonna start offering you maple syrup.
hey,
Yeah.
look.
No, it's gonna be.
We don't have any,
you're
but
not,
do you want maple syrup?
you're not even gonna have to ask anymore. People, you're
You're
gonna
just
walk
gonna
in
put
and
it
be like,
out. Here you go, Derek. Hand it to me as I walk in the door.
Derek, you should just keep it in your
Absolutely.
car
I have a little bottle that I
and
keep
just
in
take
there.
it with you. Then
Well,
you can
Anyone is
I know.
listening, get Derek a bottle of maple syrup that he can haul around.
So he doesn't have to keep
little,
asking
little
his guests
portable
for
ones,
it.
Portable
little
ones.
portable ones that I can take on airplanes and stuff. Thank you.
You can't take liquid through security. But
If it's under the right ounceage, I can.
Ooh,
Correct.
You
that'd
can.
be really
Under
tiny.
3.5. 3.5. I know my stuff. So I right now have a little one like that's that big that I got from our business manager Lonnie got all of us. So I'm keeping that
Derek,
on the
just
truck.
keep refilling that.
That's actually a great point. But
Yeah,
if someone wants to
that's a
give me a
great
gift,
idea.
genuinely maple syrup is like
Your love
up
language.
there, right?
Hook them up.
Hook them up. Hook your boy up. So anyway.
All right, well that got off the rails.
Ah,
Okay.
guys, that was so fun. I really
was-
enjoyed that.
it was fun.
Very much enjoyed that. Okay. Cool.
Wait, Dave, you did say you have a pickup line, didn't you?
Oh,
Pickup line.
We have to let Dave share his pickup lines. That was a segment that a lot of our guests
Yes.
really missed. So we're gonna just let you give us a few before
Yes.
we
yeah,
close
I
out
haven't
the
done
episode.
this in like
25 years.
26, 27
Well,
years.
Better be
that's-
at least
It's been
that
a
long,
while.
Dave.
Yeah, I hope
Better
you're not
be.
picking up any
Let
women
me see.
other than your wife.
Better not be.
Oh, no. That's what I mean. I haven't. I
Yeah,
haven't
so
had
use
to
this
them
on
for-
her.
Oh.
Life without you is like a broken pencil.
Oh.
Pointless.
Oh. Oh. Oh,
He's- he didn't look
shucks.
at you, but
What a
that's to
sweetie.
you.
Or are you a parking ticket? Because you've got fine written all
Ah!
over you.
Ah, yes. Dude, those still need to be
Dave,
used.
those-
Imagine you just tell Lori that every morning.
Yeah, can you imagine that?
Every
you pick her up
day.
with one
Every
of those.
day.
We won't tell you all our secrets. But,
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
That's why we're still married. You know.
Pickup
Good-
line.
good
So
Pickup
pickup lines
lines.
are
Pickup
not just
lines.
to get a girl; they're to keep the girl
That's
and
it.
make it good.
Oh my, that's funny.
cool.
Yeah,
I love that.
I got one here. My love is for you is like diarrhea.
Oh,
I just can't hold it in.
Disgusting.
Lori, I actually think you told me that one. Oh no, maybe not you. Sorry, I shouldn't
Yeah, I
blame
was
you for
gonna
that.
I
say,
have no idea.
I
was
know,
like,
I shouldn't
I'm not
blame you that
making
one. I'm sorry, I shouldn't blame you. I
diarrhea
almost thinking
jokes.
you told me that. No, that was verbal diarrhea. Never mind.
that almost
Verbal
sounds,
diarrhea.
that almost
Yeah.
sounds like a
Yes.
Devin one.
It does almost.
does.
Devin's
does.
had some good ones though. He's actually come up with
That's
some original
disgusting.
ones.
I would be like, I want to be as far away from you as I can right now. If someone said that to me,
I know.
I'd be like, you lost me at diarrhea.
It's really gross. It's really gross, but it's kind of funny.
It
is
funny.
funny.
It
It's
is
kind of
funny.
funny.
Well, all right, guys, use them or don't out there.
Yeah, probably
use,
do. But
Use them and let us know. We've yet to have a story.
That's
I
Success
have many
story out of
more.
that.
If you guys, any singles out there, I got
Right.
lots more on here.
that's right.
Okay, reach out to Dave on his secret Facebook page.
Yes, if you can find Dave on
Yes, you can
Facebook,
find
it's under. We
don't
don't know
know.
what name, but it's out there. He uses it
No
just for
one knows.
marketplace. Sorry, Dave, we're exposing.
The first one to find it gets a free bottle of maple syrup.
Oh, hey,
Wow,
You
Dave.
can't do that.
she just did.
I work at Southern Manners.
She
I
just
just like
did.
maple
Dave's like,
syrup.
"Where's
She just did.
He's like, we're trying to not
Dave.
have people try to find me, not the other way
I
around.
already have a lot of friend requests that I don't ever respond.
You don't have to, Dave. You don't have to.
Ignore
You
them
don't
all.
have to. Just ignore them.
That's
Don't
what I'm
even.
doing.
Good.
Yeah.
I didn't
That's what
say
I'm
you had
doing.
to
No one
accept
get
it.
offended if
Go
you don't.
ahead and find me, but I'm gonna ignore you.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
Find me. We won't know who
We
won
won't
because I'm
know
not
who
accepting
won,
your
'cause
request.
I
So
will
no
not
maple
accept
syrup.
Your
Hey,
request.
all I need is a screenshot.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
it. You're the winner.
Screenshot, send it to
Oh,
Lori,
Yeah.
Wow.
and you
That
get a
is-
free maple
dude,
syrup.
Challenge out there
Challenge.
to
This
y'all.
is like a Facebook advertisement here. Like you got
It-
everyone's gonna be getting
Yeah.
Facebook now just
Yeah.
to
just to
Just
find
to find
you.
Dave.
1,000 new
Honestly,
accounts.
Where's Waldo?
Where's Dave?
Derek's gonna spend all night trying to find that because
You
he's
know
trying
I
to get
will.
that maple
You
syrup.
know I will. You know I will. So, anyway,
Alrighty.
guys, thank you so much for being
Hey,
here. This has
thanks
been an
for having
absolute
us.
pleasure. Thanks for
Yeah.
sharing from your lives and just sharing what God has done and giving Him glory for it. Yeah, I'm really excited for people to hear this one. It's gonna
Yeah,
be great.
I am
It's gonna be
too.
great. Yes. So,
Is
love you
there-
both.
Is there any final words you want to leave with our listeners as we close out the episode? Is anything that if you could say one thing or an encouragement or a reminder
Yeah.
that you want to leave them with in this episode?
keep your stick on the ice. That's a Canadian term.
That's the most Canadian.
That really threw it. I was
That
like,
is the most Canadian
Keep-
closing.
I wanted to
That's
use that
yeah.
Do
somewhere
you want
tonight,
to
but I wasn't sure where to
expound
go.
on
I'm
that,
like,
Dave?
That's
What does that
good.
mean, Dave? What does that mean?
It's basically like a hockey term.
Yes.
What does it
It's
mean
just
not
like-
to
what does it
fall
mean in
over?
life?
Like,
But what does
What does it mean in
Oh.
life? What does it mean in life?
Just keep at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's basically
Stay
it.
in the game.
Never give up,
stay
basically.
that's it. Stay in the game.
Okay. Stay in the game.
Don't
I like
quit.
that.
Keep your stick
We
on
had
the
to have
ice,
some
man.
Canadian references here.
That's good. And if someone passes you the puck, you got to have your stick on the ice.
There you
got
go.
to be ready for opportunity, right?
That's right.
Wow, this is
you
awesome.
cannot receive without your stick on the ice.
Ooh.
All of
That's
a sudden,
sermon.
this got good.
That's a sermon. Little. Keep your stick on the ice. Sermon title. Dave
That's the
Krahn.
next. That's the next
next
sermon title. That's good.
It's very
Be
good.
ready. Yeah, always be ready.
Yeah, always be ready.
Yep.
Lori,
Yeah, that
anything
was
you want
good.
to add? You like
No,
that? You
that's
affirm
amazing.
stick on the ice?
We'll just keep our sticks on the ice.
Okay. Sticks on the ice and look at God.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
That's
Make
the
that
thing.
Look
shirt.
at God. Make that shirt.
Yeah.
God bless. God bless.
Okay. Well, thanks again, guys. Appreciate you
Yes.
both. Excited to
Yes.
see where God's brought you, but more excited to see where He's taking you because I think your journey is just beginning and the impact you have here has already been incredible and He's just going to keep using you. So appreciate your story. Keep saying yes and encouragement. Hopefully, to everyone listening are going to be encouraged by your story. So thanks for sharing. So we're going to end out this episode and you guys just follow my lead, our lead. This is the Interview Podcast. I've been Jen.
I've been Derek.
I'm Dave.
I'm Lori.
See y'all next time.
Bye, guys.
See ya.